Hi, horses. Welcome back to another lively interview. Oh, she's here. She's here. Okay. Hello. Um, we're live. Is that okay? They can't hear you yet. Actually, they can only hear me, and they can't see you yet. So do you want a second? Okay, cool. I'm gonna put you on the screen now. All right.
Is this the kind of thing where I want to see what people are saying, or should I not look at what people are saying?
It's the kind of thing where you don't want to see what people are saying. No, honestly, I don't know. I I actually appreciate you asking that because it really changes the conversation.
If I can see what people are saying?
I if we can see it, so I'm not going to look if you don't look. So if you want us to both
Oh
not look,
man, it's
we could.
rough.
Yeah, it's just a question of if do you want the chat to be part of the conversation or not. It's up to you.
I I feel like you're more qualified to answer. I don't know how good your people are, but
Can
I'll
you?
just like have it as an option, and then maybe if
What do
some
you
things
mean?
get spicy, I can check in or something. Also,
Well,
can you hear me okay? Is this working? Hello.
yeah, yeah. The closer, the better to the mic, obviously.
Cool. Well, I can hold it.
If that's comfortable, it's up to you.
I don't know. I don't know. I had a really stressful day, and then I just had like a small cocktail to unwind. So I feel pretty like emotionally raw right
Okay.
now. But that's cool. I'm down. I'm ready. I'm here.
Okay. Do you know anything about me?
No, what are you?
I'm just a YouTuber. That's all.
Just a YouTuber. There's a lot of those.
Yeah, I'm just another
What am
fish
I
in the
supposed to
sea.
know?
No, I don't know. Uh, I don't know. I have a few different reputations, and I don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to. I feel like we're having a meta conversation about the conversation.
Oh
That's
God,
good.
again.
What?
Should we have another meta conversation again? Sorry, I was just making a joke about how meta conversations seem to happen a lot. Um, but cool. What is the actual conversation? What is the mesa conversation?
Uh, are we gonna look at chat?
Should we?
Some people say no. Some people say yes.
Maybe we should do a poll.
Okay, chat. Do you think we should look at chat? I mean, that's. I know you like polls, but this is not exactly your finest work here. No offense. Um, no. Yes. Okay. Here's what I suggest. I think of myself as a pretty strong-willed streamer, not pushed around by my chat, but it's probably not
Okay.
true. It's probably not true. So let's not look at chat, and then we'll check in with them
Okay. Okay.
when
Like if I drop like a really fire joke, then I might like glance over just to get validation. But besides that, I won't.
you have it open.
Well, it's like in a different tab.
Uh, all right.
Should I not even allow that temptation?
I don't know. It's up to you.
Okay.
I
Oh
just want to be on
man.
the
You
same
see, I don't
page.
do well without like clear set rules here.
You're setting the rules. I
No,
just want
I
to know what they
really
are.
Okay, all right. Okay, well the rule is I'm gonna only look at chat if I make a real fire joke. That's the
Okay.
rule.
All right.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. So how do you pronounce your name? Ella?
Ayla.
Ayla.
Yeah.
Okay. I have you in the stream title just as Ayla.
Cool.
Should there be more to identify you by?
Uh like Ayla girl? What are people gonna Google it?
I don't know. I'm
Okay.
just saying, like, is that your preferred title for the stream
Sure,
title?
yeah. Aella.
That's what I got.
Seems like a good title, yeah.
Okay. Um. Okay. So, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ayla. I do sex work kind of. But mostly lately, I've been researching sexual fetishes, and I tweet a lot of polls. And there's like a couple other strong points, but I think those are probably the top three. Do you want me to keep going?
Sure.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Okay. You're really like doing a psychological number on me right now because I'm like desperately grasping for guidance, but it's okay.
I can.
Uh,
Do you want me to guide you? I can.
oh
You
my
don't have
god.
to grasp. I
Oh
can
my god.
provide
That's
guidance.
not.
I'm happy to guide you. Yeah.
Okay. All
Say.
right.
You said those are the top three main things.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go for like five.
Okay.
You don't want to have the same conversation that you have with every single person here, right? Like, let's. What about the
Okay.
other? What about the other two things, Ayla?
I did a bunch of LSD at one point. Sometimes people like to ask me questions about that. I'm like doing things. I'm ranking them by like general interest. Like if I were a book character,
Yep.
which I think is probably how most people do it. But anyway, yeah. So there's that. Also was raised very religious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um. You describe yourself as a micro celebrity.
This is correct.
This is your job.
To be a micro celebrity?
Just being you is your job.
Yeah. Kinda,
Okay.
yeah.
Um. What do you want out of this live stream?
Uh Novelty is ideal.
Okay.
You said something when you contacted me, you said something about like talking about controversial opinions and like the way people respond to them. I think
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. And I was
Yeah.
like, that seems like a thing that I haven't talked about a lot before. And it seems cool, especially if you talk to other people who are very controversial. Uh Also, I like when people ask me questions and asking other people questions sometimes.
Okay. Do you want to talk about? Okay. Well, let's start there. Um. You do generate some controversy around yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I read your recent posts about gender, like what is a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I saw your uh, rape survey.
Mm-hmm.
I saw your tweet about flooding the market with simulated CP.
Mm-hmm.
You deleted that.
I did.
Did you overshoot
Overshoot?
with provocation?
I don't think so. I don't it was mostly uh I was afraid that people would not want to associate with me if I had that tweet up. I think I may regret deleting it though.
Okay, let's start there because that seems like maybe we can sort through it.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about that?
Uh yes.
Okay. Um, my audience probably understands your reasoning behind the initial tweet. I'm guessing they're not going to find it that controversial. So
Cool.
you don't really have to explain it. You can if you want to. It's self-explanatory. I feel like anybody who pretends to not understand it is pretending to not understand it. But you want to explain the initial tweet, or do you want to go like what was
Yeah, I
what
tweeted
were you thinking, Ayla?
well I get that question a lot. I was mostly like figuring that if we like flooded the market with AI generated CP, that this would like kill the demand for real CP, um, and that this might be a good way of stopping or reducing child sexual abuse. But people really thought that that made me a pedophile, and then yelled at me a lot for it. I think that's the fastest ratio tweet I've ever had.
Okay, and you because the normal solution to the problem of child abuse is or child porn is like kill or cure pedophiles
Mm.
or jail stop them.
Yeah,
And
usually jail.
you're coming with an alternate solution of satisfy them in a way that like giving your cat a scratching post so it doesn't scratch the couch.
Yeah, kind of like that. And to be clear, we jail child molesters. We don't jail pedophiles. Like having an urge, like having sexual attraction towards underage people is not in itself illegal. You have to like do something about it. You have to own child. You know, I'm not sure. Is it? I don't know if I want to get your stream banned. I don't know how this works.
I
You
would
have to
say
like
I would say
own.
CP is probably the safest. It won't get banned. It just might get demonetized.
Yeah. Okay. You have to like own CP or actually abuse a child, and that is the crime. So to clarify, like I'm saying that like maybe it's possible that access to like artificially generated CP will reduce the demand for real CP.
Yeah, that makes sense. I want to clarify that when I said the solution to pedophiles generally seems to be to jail them, I don't mean that that's like the legal solution, but I think that if you ask the average maybe person in your Twitter replies if people should be jailed simply for being attracted to children, I'd imagine a lot of them would say yes.
Mm-hmm. So I have one Twitter poll where I ask, would you rather be a non-offending pedophile or have accidentally committed manslaughter? And I think usually the result to that is about 50-50.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah.
Wait, did you have another one about having sex with a 13-year-old?
Yeah. Are you talking about the Make-A-Wish Child Foundation?
I don't know. What was it? Remind us.
I actually did not generate this one. I was at a Petrov Day celebration and somebody was like mentioned it in a conversation and I heard it and I was like, fuck, that would make a good tweet. It's something like I'm trying to remember if you had like a 13-year-old dying of cancer, would it be like okay for and they made like the last wish was to have sex before they died? Would it be okay to like hire them a sex worker? And if so, should that sex worker be an adult or underage?
What do you think?
I'm, I noticed I was like I like flinched away from saying it out loud. I don't think anybody actually asked me that. I think it would be
You're like I
reasonable.
ask the questions around here.
Yeah. That's the uncomfortable ones. Usually in interviews, people are like, "So, what do you do?" And it's very easy. I think probably it would make sense to get the sexual needs of kids fulfilled. And I don't know how to do that. Sex dolls would maybe be a good start.
You're gonna give a 13-year-old dying of leukemia a sex
Yeah.
doll?
I mean, yeah, you want them to die a virgin if they're like
You're gonna be
if they really
hey.
don't want to.
I have a sex doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Renee.
Hmm.
I didn't name her.
Oh,
That's
okay.
just the head that she came with is Renee.
Okay.
Yeah, she's actually sitting in my chair right over there.
Oh, well, could she join us?
I think the stream would get demonetized. I could show you her head. I'd have to like zoom in and move the camera and stuff. I mean, it's a you've seen a silicone sex doll head, right?
Okay.
Just
Yeah, well, you've seen one, you've seen them all.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my point is that having sex with a sex doll does not make you not a virgin. So I don't.
I'm making a Twitter poll. But yeah, I think you're probably right.
I think you have to be pretty strong to use a sex doll. Like physically. I don't think a cancer-ridden 13-year-old is gonna.
Yeah. You'd have to like hold the sex doll and like.
And then you got another.
Yeah.
Then you're back with the sex worker problem.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
nurse.
Probably hiring an adult sex worker would be better than hiring a child sex worker.
Why don't you answer your own question? What do you think the answer is? Seriously.
I think it would be hire an adult sex worker.
Okay. And can you walk me through the rationalization of why this is the most ethical thing to do? We're obviously if you're a horny 13-year-old, as most are, it's not ethical to hire an adult sex worker just to have sex with them. But if they're dying, then you're saying, hey, if you're old enough to die, you're old enough to have sex. Is it kind of that? Age of consent is as a proportion of your lifespan.
Yeah, I mean, people usually are like pretty anti the kid banging because they're like, well, when you grow old, you're gonna be like, oh shit, that was terrible, I made a bad choice. all that stuff. But if you're just not going to grow old, if you're just permanently at 13, people have way more sympathy for people who are stuck at the mental age of 13 for forever. Like people who have like mentally not advanced past a certain point. They're like, well, they should be able to get sexual fulfillment. I think it's kind of similar, right? Like you're never going to not be 13.
Right.
You might as well.
If some kind of genetic disease makes it so we all die when we turn 18, what do you think the age of consent should be then?
Wait, holy shit, that is a really good question.
You can have it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll tag you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the age of consent should be kind of whatever. Like, I feel like see,
Like
okay.
7? Like even if we're gonna die when we're 18, you think that
don't like
you think
want
so?
to consent though.
Some of them do. You think I did?
Well,
I
Did
wanted.
you
I would
want
have.
to have sex at
Oh,
7?
yeah. I was like at 6. I remember my student teacher Nikki. I was like, there has to be a way to have sex with this woman.
Did you get erections?
Yes.
Really?
Babies get erections.
Like from sexual arousal?
Yes.
What? I thought
I
thought boys started getting like erections starting around like 10 or 11.
No.
How do I have this giant gap in knowledge right here?
It's not something people are proud to talk about, I guess.
Huh.
Babies get erections. You get erections your whole life. Well, the whole beginning of your life.
Yeah, I guess I sort of like thought that was a separate thing from like sexually based erections, like because people get like morning wood or whatever. Things just adjust the blood flow.
I think morning wood is somewhat sexual. I don't think there's a way to like engorge a sex organ with blood and have it be completely a non-sexual experience. I like even like okay, it could be engorged because you're having a sexual experience, but I think it being engorged is a sexual experience. You know?
Like it's like somehow tied to that inevitably.
It seems like, I mean, yeah. I mean, like I've never had somebody like fondle my morning wood and me be like, "What are you doing?" I don't invite this. Like that feels like I'm already aroused, even if I'm not. Like.
Okay. So 6 and 7-year-olds get erections. Did not know this.
Yeah. Oh, also, if a 15-year-old wants to, okay, you're saying that a 7-year-old say no. 7-year-olds, but even if they weren't aroused, I think 7-year-olds can be talked into things.
Yeah, this is true.
That they probably shouldn't do. So I'm gonna push back on your answer. I don't think whatever is a good answer.
Well, there's also a question like, where's the actual harm? And I suspect that the majority of the harm that comes from childhood sexual assault comes from the betrayal of the adult. Like you're in a community, you're in a culture where if you have sex with a kid, this means that you don't care about their well-being. And so it's inevitable that if somebody does this to you, you grow up, you find out this is like, oh shit, that person didn't care about me. And that's the hurtful thing. Like there's a lot of cultures where people had, experiences with kids and that was normalized. And I'm not sure. I mean, it's possible that they did have like trauma from that, but it seems also like kind of plausible that they didn't.
Okay. Well, I'll agree with this. In our culture, if you are willing to have sex with a child and it is widely accepted that that is damaging to the child, you're probably like not an empathetic person in the first place.
Yeah.
So you're gonna see a high correlation between like lack of empathy or someone who would betray a child with somebody who would then actually have sex with them. And you're saying if you could remove that, you. Okay, I agree with you that all sexual activity is not inherently harmful to children. Like kids playing doctor with each other, I don't think is inherently traumatizing and harmful.
Yeah.
So why is it bad to have sex with kids?
Well, I mean, historically, it's like, I mean, if you just like go back some generations, you get pregnancy and then exploitation and the thing where virginity is important. If you don't have a virginity, like there's a lot of things to lose by having sex. And if you're a kid, you don't have the judgment to not lose those things.
Yeah.
It makes sense that it was extraordinarily taboo.
But that's not an inherent. I guess. Okay. Do you think it's inherently bad to have sex with kids?
I don't think anything is inherently bad.
I think I do think that it's inherently bad to have sex with kids. I'm trying to figure out how to articulate why.
Is it because it feels like inextricably linked to harm in some way?
Yes, I think it is in. I think it is inherently harmful.
Yeah, I think that might be the crux. Like, I think if I believed it was inherently harmful, I would agree with you that
Yeah,
it
no,
is
no, but
bad.
I'm just trying to explain why I think it's inherently
Okay.
harmful. I'm not. I think that there is an explanation. Um, I think what it is that when you are sexual, you are selfish, and there's. I think that you enter a state of such narcissism and selfishness that you are that you're using the child in a way that they can't comprehend you're using them, and that I
Mm.
think anyone's role with a child is to make space for the child's needs, and there's something about sexual activity that I think eclipses all all like the needs of the child just inherently.
Mm. This seems pretty reasonable. Like I don't like it doesn't seem like an insane position to have, but I do
Nice.
find it to be like often pretty inconsistent with a lot of other ways at least normal people tend to believe we can treat kids.
I would,
Like
yeah, I probably don't okay, like what?
yeah, well it sounds like you might be about to agree with me, but there's like I was
Well, I
molested as
have
a
to.
kid
Okay.
and and it was like not even in the top 10 worst things that happened to me as a kid. And it's like everybody freaks out about the molestation, but not about the other top 10 things. And I'm like, why is that thing like supposed like so elevated when there were so many other ways that my agency was violated?
Yeah, that, and then it maybe feels like you're just being shamed for sex rather than like the shame becomes about sex rather than abuse. If we're
Right.
if we're saying that other more insidious types of abuse can't be as damaging.
Yeah, that seems correct.
Okay.
I do respect consistency here though. If somebody's like, yeah, like sexual experiences in childhood are inherently traumatizing apart from culture, and also a bunch of other things are equally as bad or sometimes even worse apart from culture, I'd be like, all right, that seems like I may possibly still disagree, but like it seems pretty thoroughly thought out.
Okay, well let's play the game. What other kinds of abuse do you think that normal people are tolerant of? And then all I'm going to say, well, that's terrible, and then you decide if I'm lying, just for the sake of seeming consistent.
Okay.
Okay.
School, going to school seems like clearly child abuse to me, which it seems like to be a pretty unpopular opinion. People are like, what are you talking about?
I think school is child abuse. The difference, I will say, is that the abusive part of having sex with a child is also the part that you're getting out of it. Like, you could just not do that, whereas school feels like we don't have an alternative solution
Mm.
to the problems that school solves. So I will agree with you that it is abusive,
Okay, so you're
definitely.
saying that like nobody really likes school, not even the teachers and the adults doing it.
Almost some people do, but we have there's an explanation other than it just fucking feels good for why we make kids go to school. But there is not that
Right.
explanation of like and like if I say, well, I'm not, you know what, Ayla, I'm not going to have sex with children, then you're not going to be like, well, then what are you going to do? You know, like it doesn't create the same like vacuum of like, well, then what are kids going to do from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. the way it does if you say we're not going to send kids to school anymore. My ex wife uh, I think agreed with you here and kind of changed my mind. She was like, if we have a child, they won't. I don't want them to going to school. And then I remember she said this in front of like my family, and my family was like, "Oh, so do you want to like homeschool them?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But I kind of yeah, I agree with that one.
Yeah, this so there's like a tribe where the ritual is like as a coming of age ceremony, the young boys have to suck the penis of an elder. Um
I've read about this.
yeah, and presumably many of the elders here do not actually enjoy it because most people are not in fact attracted to children, and nor are they gay. So in this culture, a lot of people are not actually getting anything out of the ritual. Nobody's doing this for their satisfaction. Would you consider that to be not inherently wrong?
Okay, so you're comparing it to school by saying that they see it as it's to transfer the vitality and virility to the child, right?
Mhm.
And so they see that as they just have to do it. You can have an orgasm. This goes back to the morning wood thing. Your penis and your brain don't have to be on the same page, or vagina, right? Like you can have an orgasm and be aroused even if you don't like what you're doing.
Mhm.
So you're saying that they're like, well, my penis likes being sucked by a child, but I think it's weird. This is like I'm just doing my duty, guys. And you believe that, and for the sake of the hypothetical, is this my off ramp? No, I'll believe you. Okay, so we agree with that. And what happens if we take it away? They say like, well, then the kids are gonna be gay and frail. They're gonna turn out to be gay weaklings if they don't suck our dicks, and that's not good.
Mm.
Okay, I think that this is an issue of the observer, like who you're asking the question. I think it's child abuse because I don't agree with them that. Well, I don't agree that school does. Yeah. I don't think they have to do that though, and I don't think it creates a problem if they don't do it. So I still think it's child abuse, but I would not. I will grant you that I would not like have these people like charged with a crime. I agree. I agree. If I were in the society and I agreed with the premise that this has to happen, then I would agree with you. But since I'm outside the society and I don't agree that sucking dick fills you with vigor and manliness, well, it does, but not in the same way that we're talking about. It does not a medical injection of semen makes you, you know what I'm saying? I just
Right.
don't agree. I don't agree with I guess their premise.
Yeah, I think the point of the thought experiment was less to be a comparison to school and more like a response to you saying that like the reason why child sexual abuse is wrong is because the person is getting something out of it. And I'm like, well, if we take the getting something out of it away, is it still wrong?
I still think it's wrong because the thing they're getting out of it is a fantastical belief that they're still getting. I mean, they're still getting their dick sucked.
Okay, so you're
And
like you can never like truly have it not be
I don't
something
think
that they
so.
enjoy. Okay.
I'm much more in favor of like the most ethical way to have sex with a child is to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm a child rapist and I'm going to rape this child. That to face it full on and just own that like you're harming another person for your own selfish desires. Convincing yourself that you're doing something good for them that is worse, I think.
Yeah, to be clear, I think that it that having sex with children is incredibly a bad thing and
Oh
we should
yeah,
not do it.
absolutely.
I
Totally.
know that we're talking about
Yes, yes,
hypothetical, but I
yes.
just want to
Oh
state for the
yes.
record
This is all just
that like I am
thought
like
experiment.
very fully against this.
Me too.
And that talking about I'm just saying that I think it like makes sense. I'm not saying that we should not revoke like our taboos against, fucking around
No,
with kids.
we're just
I
talking.
am also saying that like I think that the reasons behind it are kind of inconsistent. That's all.
Do you know who Vosh is?
I have heard this name, but not deeply.
He's a guy who once said, or twice said, that if make basically if buying blood diamonds or T-shirts or laptops made by child slave labor is ethical, then shouldn't buying child porn be ethical too?
Hmm. I bet that got a great response.
It didn't. Um, but yeah, clearly he's not trying to say that child porn is good. He's trying to say other things are bad. And so I think in this conversation, maybe you're concerned about the same thing happening where you're saying I'm saying school is really bad, and you're saying that, but other people are going to say you're saying child rape is not bad. But I do want to get back to like that. I think there's a sexual shaming thing. I think actually your sexuality is what's being shamed when people say being molested is 10 times worse than being gaslit or 10 times worse than being whatever, forced to go to school, whatever else you feel
Mm.
um, traumatized by.
Yeah, I think that this is true. I mean, again, like, it makes sense because in centuries past, like I could have maybe gotten pregnant, um, And then that would have been terrible. It would have been like a actually a life ruining thing. Like, luckily at this point, this is less of a risk. But although it wasn't like I had like penetrated sex as a kid or anything, but that sort of like that direction of like intent is sort of where that's going. It's just really freaky.
Yeah. So yeah. So if we die at 18, what should the age of consent be?
I don't know. It's 12. I don't know. A lot of people give a good 6 years.
Right. Yeah. I think 12 is a sensible answer. I think it should be 11, but whatever.
Oh man, I don't know. That's like
You want to play chicken? Are we playing chicken? I think it should be 11, you fucking pussy. 12? 12? Wow.
ah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Um. Oh yeah, yeah. So you tweeted this out. You want me to talk for a second?
Well, I mean, as opposed to what?
Me asking you a short question and you just chew.
My
Oh, you're gonna talk
chewing,
while you're chewing. Okay, okay.
I have like
So
a hierarchy of priorities right now, and the number one is talking to you, and so
it feels like it's competing, but that's okay.
oh,
Yeah.
do you want me to make you feel better?
No, I didn't
Okay.
say it was a bad feeling. I just don't want to
Okay.
agree to your lie about the situation.
Okay.
I don't like lying, and you
Okay.
don't either. Is that smoked salmon?
Yeah, yeah. You want some?
I have some
Oh, cool.
already. Yeah, it was my birthday yesterday.
Oh, okay. Did you have smoked salmon for your birthday?
I had smoked salmon for breakfast, and then I had sushi for dinner. I
Wow.
have more smoked salmon. I'm trying to make a pizza with smoked salmon. I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna do
How
it.
old
I'm
are
gonna
you?
make
Like
it.
43?
No.
No. It just sounds like a 43-year-old kind of meal.
I'm 37, but um, I've always liked smoked salmon.
Cool.
Yeah, I said yesterday that my birthdays have been the same since I was 12. Like my friends and I play video games and I eat sushi. So nothing's really changed.
Okay, so it's like a nostalgic thing.
No, I just like it.
Okay. It has nothing to do with nostalgia.
I don't have fond feelings about my childhood for the most part.
Do you have
Especially,
bad feelings
yeah,
about it?
yeah. I associate smoked salmon with my mother, who I hate and I've not
Hmm.
spoken to in over a decade. But I I like smoked salmon that much that I still eat it.
Oh, despite it being associated with your mother.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about that?
I feel proud of myself because, like, a lot of people, when they hate their parents, they live their lives in as like the opposite, like whatever blah 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 my parents did, I'm gonna not to be anything like them. But then you just end up hating yourself. So I think it's good to own the ways that you're like your parents, even if you know can't stand them.
Mm. Oh, good job.
Thanks. Are you mad at me?
No?
Okay.
Sometimes I have trouble with my face.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you if I'm mad at you in the future?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay, I can do that. But I rarely get mad, so it probably won't happen.
We'll see.
Why did you think I was mad at you?
Because of the, I didn't think you were mad at me. I thought you might be though. Because of the way you said, good job. It sounded
Yeah.
like condescending.
Oh no. Oh, I
Yeah.
feel like afraid hearing that.
Well, it could be condescending. It could just be that you don't want to talk about this. It could be that you just thought it wasn't interesting. It could be that you are. I thought maybe you're mad at me about the thing I said about you prioritizing eating over talking to me. If
Oh
you were
no.
mad, that would be the thing I would think you were mad about.
Well, I'm glad you're like tracking that or something. But I think the thing that was going on with me is that like you're saying something like vulnerable and pretty painful, I assume. I assume there's a lot of pain in there. And then I was like, I think I felt some sort of tension between like feeling myself pulled into that and also the feeling that like a lot of people are watching.
Hmm.
And I wanted to
You were
like
like, oh, we're either gonna both start crying or you're gonna just like divert us back to joking around about raping kids. So you took the second one.
I missed what you said.
It felt like you feel like you were like a crossroads between like we're either gonna dive into this like super vulnerable place where
Mm.
you're gonna start like revealing things about yourself without having thought them through live in front of like 1,000 people, or you can divert us back to like a more jokey place where we're just like, you know,
Yeah. I'm not sure that I was like making like high level decisions about
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
direction
I
to go,
just am
but
like, do
it's
you think
something
that's
I was trying I think I was like trying to convey like some genuineness and then feeling like a little bit caught in like how much I want to be self-protective in front of a lot of people. And
right?
then I think that might be why the tone of my voice was
You were shutting it down. I was wondering why.
yeah. I think
Now
I'm
I
like
know.
kind of nervous and embarrassed about like having painful feelings really openly. And I would like to be able to have them really openly. Uh but it feels like a little awkward.
Yeah, I'm also. We also haven't talked before, and I have more power than you in the live stream situation.
Oh, I
It's
hadn't
it's my
considered that.
audience too. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
just want
true.
to acknowledge that like me being vulnerable willy nilly is and then asking you to follow me is not. It's not. You're not doing the same thing as me if you're vulnerable. You're doing a much more scary, out of control, like no power thing than if I'm vulnerable because I it's my stream.
Ah, I appreciate you tracking that. I don't think I was tracking that.
Sure.
Yeah, but I was not mad. I was not. I did not actually feel any sort of condescending thing.
Okay. Yeah, just self protective.
Yeah.
Um, childhood, man. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I had a really shitty dad, but I mean, you probably figured that out. I'm like very loud about it.
Yeah, yeah. I read about that.
Yeah. So I had a lot of like, oh man, been there. But anyway, yeah, childhood.
Yeah. Well, you just said you don't want to be vulnerable, so
No, I don't mind. I'm just saying that
nope.
like it feels strange or
You
something.
do.
I don't
Well,
mind being uncomfortable.
you want to talk about I know you. I know you don't have to prove yourself. You want to talk about I want to go back to the tweet, but before that, let's talk about the intersection and conflict between being vulnerable and honest, having boundaries, and having privacy.
Mm.
Because I feel that you are you wrestle with the difference between those things.
Hmm.
Are you concealing something because it's shameful? Is it okay to conceal something because it's shameful? Does that mean you're hating yourself? If you reveal something because it's shameful, does that mean you're not having boundaries and thus sort of like violating your own consent? And I feel like from reading your writing, I feel like that's something you think about.
Yeah, I'm not sure that. I mean, maybe I have written with the shameful lens before. I'm not sure if I use that word quite so much. Although I think maybe I kind of feel it, but
You
it's not
don't.
really like consciously recognized.
You said there. You said that you lean into the abyss because there is absolutely
Mhm.
nothing to be ashamed of. You were talking about people
Yeah.
staring directly
Yeah.
into your butthole.
Yeah, directly into my butthole.
Yeah.
It's scary. I
Yeah.
like it. I mean, there's a lot of values, right? I think in that thing I was writing, it was true. I strongly stand behind it. It's true. Also, there's other parts of me which maybe I wrote about. I forget. I don't read things after I publish them because uh, I get nervous. But
Well, I only mention it because you said you were not looking at it through the lens of shame or as like validating the concept of shame. I think you were saying I think what I'm trying to get at is that it sounds like sometimes your thought process is if I feel bad about revealing part of myself, physically or emotionally or psychologically, then am I sending the message to people that am I shaming
Mhm.
them by allowing myself to be shamed? But then that also clashes with what if I just what if there's something I just want to keep to myself? Or does that mean I have to reveal everything I'm ashamed of about myself? I think there's an
Yeah.
inherent tension there.
I don't think there actually is anything I want to keep to myself, like sort of inherently. I don't really get the concept of privacy for privacy's sake, but it feels like sometimes I want to keep things to myself because I anticipate people are going to make me feel really bad. And I'm pretty immune to feeling bad in general. I'm like pretty resilient, but like a lot when it's very repeated, like a lot of people saying really terrible things about you, it can start to be psychologically damaging, like a little like paper cuts. And so it's hard. It's like I'm like I find myself weighing things now. I'm like much more guarded than I used to be.
What do you mean you're immune to feeling bad?
I think I'm more immune to feeling bad than most, or than most. As in, like I think I have like a greater tolerance for
Okay,
painful things.
okay. So being immune meaning you still feel bad, or are you saying you feel less? You are number, or things just don't hurt you as much, or they hurt you a lot, but you have a high tolerance for it. And high tolerance meaning you don't like collapse or freak out or hide or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure what the difference is between those two. I do think that like likely I experience like on an object level like less negative emotions when people yell at me online than others. Um, but also I think that I don't know like resilience or something. And again, like I'm not saying that I have like any particularly special. This is not. It just happens to be that my brain is like wired in a way that is like think relatively resilient. Um, I forgot what I was
I think
talking
there's a
about.
huge difference between those two.
Sorry, which two?
Being numb and
Uh,
not collapsing.
yeah, you think so?
Yeah, because like you could still have like an internal like dialogue and experience with yourself of like the physical pain that you feel when somebody says something horrible to you, or you could just say like it doesn't man
Yeah, I think there's
doesn't
a
bother
thing
me.
which took me like kind of an embarrassingly long time to figure out is that it feels like there's like two kinds of pain and one is like pain and one is resistance to the pain and often they're so quickly bundled together that it's hard. And I think I'm very good at not having resistance to the pain. And so
Okay.
that's the sort of thing I think I'm like also kind of like trying to talk out my thoughts as I go, so I'm at least kind of self-contradictory. But there's a way in which like I feel like pretty like okay like experiencing a lot of pain, and in that, I think like I'm sort of like automatically resilient or numb or something. Like I don't experience the resistance that a lot of people do, but I think I do experience like quite a lot of object level pain, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and you're saying you don't understand privacy for privacy's sake.
Yeah. Do you?
Yes, I used to not though.
Oh, what changed your mind?
Um, I used to be an exhibitionist,
Mm.
and I started to realize I hated being watched or looked at.
What
And
changed?
nothing. I'd always hated it. I also like enjoy it, but I just slowly realized that just this awareness. I would just have this like just like little thoughts of like just hateful thoughts about whoever was like looking at me.
Hmm.
And I used to have a sex blog that was basically just like a journal um, of like sexual experiences and thoughts. It basically was a journal, and I would just write in it every day and like post it, and like everybody I knew would read it. And then eventually I made it private because I was like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I just eventually I started to just understand the concept of wanting something that's for me that other people can't have.
I don't think I understand.
I know.
Like when I try to imagine that, I sort of like I imagine that there's something else that happened, like some other shift, just suddenly understanding the concept doesn't feel like a satisfying explanation to me.
All right, fuckhead. I'll come up with something better. Um,
Do you feel like there is something else, or do you feel like I'm missing something?
Mm, okay, one thing that clicked was remembering that when I was a teenager, the door to my room was like 2 inches off the ground at my mother's house. The door to her room was also 2 inches off the ground, and they were across the hall from each other, and she slept with her door open. Um, and I started to like I feel like I feel like it's accepted that like when you develop a fetish, it's often something bad that happened to you that you're turning into something like pleasurable, like a oyster making a pearl out of like a grain of sand.
Mhm.
And so when I started associating the feeling of being I, I started to realize I'm not really an exhibitionist. I don't like people admiring my body so much. I mean I like that, but I don't think that's what like really turns me on. I think it's feeling embarrassed and violated,
Mm.
and like I don't have privacy.
Mm.
Um, and then I would like get in like I rented out a woman's living room in LA to like live in because I was like uh, unstoppably turned on by the idea of having no privacy. And then like when I was there, it was either like extremely fun, just like masturbating in this woman's living room, and also and alternately that, and then like just like feeling like I fucking hate you. I wish I had my own place so badly.
Mm.
But and then I but I wasn't really that aware of that, and then I think that just over years of like doing things like that, it just slowly built up, and then it kind of clicked of like, oh, I've never like really had like after being a teenager, part of me just like felt like deprived of privacy. And another moment that clicked was my girlfriend um was like cleaning up my dirty clothes, and I told her to stop, and then she like kept touching them, and or she like downplayed how much I wanted. I was like, I really need you to never touch my clothes ever for any reason ever. And I don't even know why. I've never felt like this about this before, but I need you to not to do it. And she like argued with me, and I threw her hamper across the room and broke it.
Mm.
And then I was like, oh, I really there's something about this whole like dynamic that I really really hate. And yeah, since then I've been taking privacy like more seriously.
Oh, that's so interesting. That's interesting. I feel like I have to think about that a lot
Well, I think you should.
because then I might decide that privacy is good.
I don't know. I want you to understand it. If you're giving it up, I want you to understand it. That's all.
Mm.
But that's what I think. Not that you should agree with me. I mean, I think it's good to some degree. I mean, there's a trade-off. At some point, honesty and privacy start to collide.
Yeah, I think this is true. I think there are some ways in which I'm not totally open with other people, like the public or something, and it seems okay.
Well, like earlier, you said you didn't want to talk about your childhood. So
Did I
that's
did I say that?
no, but you implied it.
Oh.
You implied that this a wall. You were like, I don't want to be super vulnerable without thinking about my childhood and life.
Oh. I don't remember the exact words I used, but I think
Me neither.
my feelings are something like I notice that I'm uncomfortable or something approaching those topics. But I still have a willingness to feel uncomfortable. I'm not saying that we have to, but I'm just making that small clarification.
Okay, well, I'm just taking a wide berth around talking about your childhood because you said that. Because I want you to have the privacy. But then when I call it privacy, you're like, no, fuck it. Let's talk about it all. I'm like, no, like, I don't. Uh,
You don't want to make me uncomfortable?
I do want to make you uncomfortable. I don't want
Uh-huh.
to violate your privacy.
I see.
Well,
That
it's
feels
also
like caring, and I appreciate it.
conveniently, it has turned out that one way to make you uncomfortable is by loudly and openly respecting your privacy boundaries that you will not state or acknowledge that you have any need for. So I guess I've figured out how to meet both needs.
Do you feel satisfied?
Yes, immensely.
Smug even?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
I'm glad I could help.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Um, okay, the tweet.
Mhm.
So we get your rationale. We've gotten to know you a little bit. What happened when you fired off that tweet? You said it was the fastest ratio that you've ever had.
Yeah. I mean, that happened. It was just a buttload of people quote tweeting me, calling me a pedo groomer, and yelling at me a lot, and
Anyone
then taking
notable who you,
screenshots.
anyone who you've known of or known before, or you're like, oh, that person is saying this? Like, was there
Oh,
any experience there?
probably. I think there were a couple. I mean, like the people who are in my circles didn't. Some of them like didn't love the tweet, but nobody, retweeted and mocked me. But yeah, I vaguely remember that there were a couple of names that retweeted. And I was like, oh, I know that person. I guess I'm gonna block them now. But I don't remember who. I wish I could give you a more interesting answer.
Do you know who Destiny is?
Maybe this is a streamer.
He's a streamer. The Omni
Okay.
Liberal on Twitter.
Okay, it sounds familiar. Did he retweet it?
I don't think so, but you blocked him. I was
Okay,
curious.
then yeah, then he
He's
probably
a
made
friend
fun
of
of me.
mine.
Uh,
He took your rape quiz on stream
hmm.
once. Yeah, you're I think his community has some affection for you.
Oh, should I unblock him?
Probably. I think so. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what he did. I disavow, but if
I do unblock people if like their friends give me explicit requests, but usually my rule for blocking is if they're mean. If they like say something, I'm like, that was an unnecessary cruelty against a fellow human being. But
Destiny is mean on Twitter.
okay, that's probably why.
However, he's got a big heart and a kind soul. I blame Twitter.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
I formally request that you unblock him.
All right, I'll give him a second chance.
Yeah, if he says something else mean, then just block him again. But yeah, I think his community enjoys your you as a thinker and your provocative polls. Okay, so how did you feel when the quote tweeting and pedo accusations? Like, what was your experience and your thought process going through that, and then leading to you deleting it?
It was mostly fine. Like this is not the first time I've been ratioed. I've been ratioed pretty hard for other things before. I'm like, okay, here we go again. I didn't like I did not expect this particular tweet to get ratioed so hard. I figured some people wouldn't like it, but I was kind of surprised to find that it took off as fast as it did. And I was like, okay, I was like kind of vaguely stressful, but luckily I figured out how to turn off my notifications on Twitter, which I did last year, very recently. And that it was okay. I don't know, because I stood behind it, right? Like, and I still stand behind it. I think that this is like a reasonable argument to make. And like, you can disagree with me on the particulars or the execution, but like, it doesn't seem like an insane thing to talk about. And people were reacting like it was an insane thing to talk about. But I got kind of uncomfortable when a friend of mine messaged me kind of like upset about it. And I was like, oh, this seems like suddenly I felt like I didn't understand the way that it was affecting my social spheres.
What did
And then
they
I
say?
felt, uh, I think I don't want to be specific
Yeah,
because
vaguely. What did they say?
yeah, basically like it was like a bad argument and like it was so
Okay.
bad it was just being provocative or something.
Okay. So I guess yeah, that was my question: is are they messaging you not saying like, "Hey, people are talking"? They're messaging you saying like, "Hey, this tweet sucks."
Yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Okay.
And I think I disagree. I now like in hindsight I'm like because like at the time it's like a little scary when something like that happens. I feel like pretty vulnerable to social like my social sphere is liking me. I really like it when my friends like me and I don't want to make anybody unhappy and feeling valued is good, especially since I recently moved away from a lot of friends and so I feel like I'm a lot more socially vulnerable than I usually do. So a lot more sensitive and reactive to people's opinions. But I thought about it and I think I disagreed, but there was something like I realized I don't understand fully like the impact that this might have on social circles I care about. That I'm not like maybe like borderline social circles that I care about. And so I decided to delete it until I figured that out. And since then, I think I figured out that it was fine. Like, I think it actually had a positive impact on the social circles I care about.
Okay, but once you see the fire spreading very rapidly, so it's like you kind of have to just make a decision. So you went with the
Right.
more conservative choice to
And
delete.
I did make a follow-up tweet saying, like, I do not disendorse anything. Like, I still support it, which I do.
Mhm.
I'm just like deleting it to like make people stop flocking to me, which I think was like kind of it wasn't like a bad move, you know. It seems fine.
Deleting it?
Yeah, I kind of wish I hadn't, but it seems kind of reasonable to have done at the time.
I think it's back to it's kind of like the privacy thing,
Yeah,
a little bit, where you're it makes sense to not want to deal with it.
yeah,
Okay, so like if you say like on Twitter like I think that men and women should have equal rights, like you think that, and it's like fine, and like there's going to be very little pushback. If you're in a another country surrounded by like some fundamentalist like religious zealots and they're all machetes, and then somebody says, "Do you think men and women should have equal rights?" and puts a microphone in front of your face, you could be forgiven for saying no if knowing that they're going to cut you into little pieces if you say yes. So I think that like that's an extreme example, obviously, but like there is some negotiation between like how much of this shit do I want to deal with and like
yeah. This seems correct.
speaking your truth.
Yeah, I think as I climb more in visibility, like the stakes grow higher. And so
Yeah,
things that used to be like easy decisions in the past are now becoming like harder to make. And I didn't really expect that to happen.
money.
Yeah,
Are you making a lot of money?
no. I got funded to do research. I'm not really doing sex work much, so
Okay.
yeah.
You'd rather do research than sex work?
Yeah. Research is fun.
Sex work's not fun.
I mean, it's boring. It's like fine, but it's repetitive
Clients are, uh, why is it repetitive?
because it's the same thing. I mean, especially the online stuff. It's like take photos of the same body. Like I've been filming my own body for the same exact purpose for 10 years. It's just I'm so sick of it. I never want to take another photo of myself. There's no like creativity. It's completely routine. You take a photo of your tits, you post it, and then the men are happy because it's new. But it's the same tits. I wish I could just make a clone of myself or a mannequin and take photos of that.
Do you think that you're projecting with your AI porn tweet?
I'm projecting.
Like, do you think that part of you wants that there to be AI generated porn of yourself to flood the market so that you wouldn't like have to actually interact or keep making it yourself?
Well, the point of flooding the market is to reduce the demand for the real thing. So no.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
but I mean, in that case, then you could, if you owned the AI, then you could still sell them. You just wouldn't have to do it.
yeah. Yeah. No, I got thinking about it because of Dolly. And how Dolly was banning all sort of like sexual aspect. Do you know about Dolly?
No?
Dolly's a new OpenAI's thing where you can basically it's insane. You just replicate any sort of thing you want. You type in like bunny reading a newspaper and it like gives you a bunch of portraits of a bunny reading a newspaper that's generated. It's incredible. But anyway, like we're talking about it and they didn't allow any sort of sexual content to be a part of its training algorithm. And so I was thinking
That's so
about
stupid.
like the automatic generation of sexual content like in regards to that and then part of it was like oh shit like it would be great if we could automatically generate content that doesn't actually harm anybody and then that's where that tweet came from.
I would spend so much time on that website if it allowed sexual content.
I know, right? I was like
Yeah.
fuck, that would make all my dreams come true.
Yeah.
Literally. No,
Yeah.
not literally.
It would make pictures of your dreams come true.
Yeah, thank you, that is correct.
Um, okay. It's any other reasons why it's boring?
uh I like doing OnlyFans when it was new because it was like solving a problem and then I solved the problem and then it was routine and then it was boring. So, I mean, I think it all kind of comes down to that. I think I would like it a lot more if it was like, oh, this new thing that I need to think about and figure out the answer to. But it's
Yeah.
none of that. Men have been the same for millennia, and men will be the same. And I am just catering to the extremely stable set of desires.
Which makes it reliable but boring.
Yes. Very boring.
I felt like that about personal training, where at first it felt like a problem, like how to figure out how to become a personal trainer, and then how to like make money and how to build a client base. And then once I figured it out, I was like, I think that was the part that was most engaging for me. And now I feel like I'm pretty good at it, but like being good at something is not that fun.
Are you currently like in a boring routine of personal training?
No, I have one. So the pandemic ended my training career anyway. So it was kind of worked out, and I left LA. But I have one client who I do I love her? Maybe I do. I have one client who I like at least, maybe love, who I train online, but that's it. So I get to have like I still like being a trainer, but I don't have to like do it that much.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
If you're training somebody who you love, then that sounds like actually quite great.
I developed very strong feelings about a lot of my clients, but yeah. So this is nice. It's a good. I don't know.
Cool.
Compromise. Okay. There's another. Anything else you want to say about the tweet? Oh. Well, do you reject counter arguments like Do you think is it good for children to grow up in a world flooded by images of people fucking them? Is that just inevitable given where technology is going? Should we not? Does it send them a weird message if we're like, hey, they're just pictures of people fucking you. We're not actually gonna do it, guys. Don't worry. Like, is that bad?
Weirdly, I hadn't actually heard that counter argument. But I don't know. I mean, like, so one, downsides don't mean a thing isn't worth it.
I didn't
So
fucking say it wasn't worth it. I just said, do you
I know, but I'm
acknowledge
not just
any
talking
counter
to
argument
you.
to your extremely
I'm
radically
talking like
insane position? Are
I'm
you
talking like
open-minded at all?
the billion people who are going to be, finding any like avenue to take to tear me down, man. Like, this isn't like necessarily about you. Well, I think I did feel a little annoyed right there. I had like a little activation. I was like, fucking let me, like, I don't know, take my strategy. It's not, I'm not actually upset, but I had a little bit of spice there. Yeah.
Okay, wait. Explain that.
The spice?
About what? What did I do that made you mad?
I think I wanted to like introduce a concept that like a downside does not mean it's not worth it before like moving on.
I shut it down.
Yeah. And then I felt frustrated because I'm doing it for a reason that's not about you or something. And then I felt like kind of self-protective.
I made it about myself.
Uh
I said we're past that, buddy. We understand. I know you know me. It's me, but I'm ignoring the droves of people who may be wanting to witch hunt you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think something like that. I think it's like a little bit like of like a you stepped on my toe reaction, like stepped on my toe, and it's like fine or something. But there's some sort of like strong need to communicate that it hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think you did anything wrong. So,
It was inevitable.
yeah. Should we? I think I feel like a little self-conscious now.
You were prefacing, and I hate prefacing, but you were prefacing your response by saying a downside does not make something not worth it. My question was, do you acknowledge any downside? And you were going to say, this doesn't mean that I'm stepping away from my very firm stance.
Yeah.
Outlined in my deleted tweet, but consequently followed by a tweet saying I still stand by the stance in my deleted tweet that this would be a good thing to do. if somebody else suggested it, I would agree.
Mm.
Okay. So, do you acknowledge any downside? And I acknowledge that acknowledging a downside does not mean you disavow your opinion.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, I think there probably would be downsides.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's
Like what?
possible. Like, huh?
Like what?
I mean, you were bringing up the one about like kids existing in a world where they know that like AI generated
If they
porn
know
with
the
people.
truth that we want to see pictures of them naked.
Well, a small percentage of the population, but yeah, and
I
yeah,
don't think that's a very small percentage.
no.
I think a small percentage of the population exclusively or primarily want to see pictures of minors naked.
Hmm.
I think a large percentage of the population, if they could have a thing that generated whatever picture they want, at some point would be like, yeah, okay, what does it look like if a teacher, fucks a bunch of sixth graders? Like, yeah, show me. I want to know. I need to know.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's fair. Like, I could see curiosity. I guess like
Something
I
in
was thinking
between
about.
curiosity and interest.
Yeah, I think I'm interested in like kind of like people who like maybe kind of are a
Who need
threat.
it? Who need it?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
who
yeah.
might be like driven in some way. Because like, 'cause I could see like someone like doing like a photo for curiosity and then being like, ah, right. And I wouldn't count that because I wouldn't consider them a threat. But
I see. I see.
um,
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, it seems like I
Well, a threat meaning not a threat of someone who would abuse a child, but a threat of somebody who would seek out child pornography and obtain it and contribute to the sex slavery atrocity of the
mhm.
creation of child pornography. And what you're saying it would be a way to stop them from doing that for people who are like didn't listen to the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah, for
Okay.
people who are like at risk of that.
Okay.
It seems like a good category of
Yes.
the kind of interests that we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. It might be like a little harder and like part of it's like a lot really depends on the implementation of my idea. Like if you just had some business made like freely generated stuff all over, this would probably be hard. I feel like it'd probably be better to track exactly what is generated so that you can compare this against like existing files so you know what is real and what is fake.
Yeah.
And which would require some sort of like centralized thing to be like monitoring,
Well,
what goes out.
there's probably some rule you could set for a computer generated thing that could make some kind of pattern in it that no human could detect or see, some encrypted
Yeah.
thing that only the computer itself would know. I'm sure there's a way to do it.
Right.
You know what I just thought about?
What?
Remember when you were talking about how you wrote that the liberal stance on being gay is kind of inherently shaming, of saying like being gay is not a choice. We're born this way. The implication being that if you choose to be gay, then there would be something wrong with you. And
Hmm.
then you were saying that about being trans too. Like why? How come autogynephilia isn't a good reason to transition? If you're turned on by being something, why are we telling you that's not a good enough reason to be it?
Hmm.
What about people who choose to be pedophiles?
Do you think that's a thing?
I think it could be.
It could be.
I think it could be a factor. Because we picture all pedophiles as people who are like they're vampires. Like they're like, I just want to be normal. I want to age and be normal like everybody else. But they're like that. This thirst comes over me, and I have to give in. But what if there's people who are just like, I don't know. I think there's people who who are turned on by the idea of being like a pervert.
Hmm. Like, so it's not necessarily the pedophilia itself. It's like they're
It's like,
aroused by tabooness in general,
yeah,
and they're
maybe
like, "What's the most taboo thing?"
there has to be some contingent of
Mm.
people who are purchasing, looking at child pornography, who are not primarily attracted to children. They're just like, they just like it.
Hmm. This seems like plausible. I would suspect it's like a pretty small percentage, but uh, I don't think I would be that surprised if at least
There'd be
like
more of
potentially
that.
one person.
If you got your AI thing going, there'd be a lot more of that.
Yeah, this doesn't feel intuitive to me. Like I could see how if that feels like the way that your model of the world works, that you'd be pretty against my idea. But
I'm
I
not
don't
against your
think
idea.
this.
I'm for your idea.
Oh, you're for my idea. You're telling me my tweet was insane.
That doesn't mean I don't like it.
Okay.
I was trying to be objective.
Thank you.
I
Appreciate that.
think it's a great idea.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
think we should go into it acknowledging the downsides if we're going to do it. But having heard your proposal, I see no choice but to approve it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's get that started.
Yeah, you want to be the one to found that company?
Maybe, yeah. Get your research money.
I don't have that much research money. No, I don't have to do that. Did you
Give
comb
us.
your hair like that?
I don't answer questions about my body.
Okay.
So that's a boundary I've set with my chat.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like a little like sheepish. Like I feel like I accidentally like poked a thing that I didn't want to poke or something.
Uh, well, your narrative about your own body is that you're okay with people making comments about it or asking questions about it whenever.
Hmm.
And this narrative is necessary somewhat to do sex work and to present yourself in some of the ways that you do. It might not be true. It might not be 100% true, though. I feel like we're having a kind of, I mean, we're kind of having a unspoken argument about this.
Are we?
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the privacy thing again?
About how you feel about people talking about and looking at your body.
Okay. Uh,
There's no pictures
what-
of you naked on your blog.
yeah, that's true.
Why not?
Because if I want some people to take me seriously.
Okay. You can't. It can't be nipples and ideas. They don't go together.
Yeah, not super closely. It might be that at some point I'll like feel confident enough to do that, but I don't think I feel that confidence right now.
Confident in what?
Like confident that people who I'm trying to impress will visit my blog and then not think less of me because I also have nipples on it.
Well, do they think that because they're stupid, or
Uh,
because you can't have a body and a mind at the same time, or like, or are we sure it's a good idea to play ball with that?
yeah,
Are we
I,
validating something sexist?
like some part of me like very deeply agrees with you. I used to have naked pictures on my blog.
I'm not fucking saying what I think. I'm just talking through it. This is like the thing about
Oh,
the. I'm not. We agree with me. I'm asking. I'm just asking questions.
oh,
Do you want to know what I think?
yes?
Uh, I think it is sexist that people think that if a woman is naked, she is stupid. It is also kind of sexist against men to think that if they see a naked woman, they can no longer think about what she's saying or take her seriously.
Mm.
I think it would hurt your feelings if your traffic spiked because there were naked pictures on your blog and you would never know if people were coming to look at you naked or to read your ideas. I think
I So go ahead.
I think that's a decent enough reason not to do it though, because it would be really upsetting.
Yeah, I think you're correct, but like maybe with like a slight shift. Like it's not that I don't know if they're coming to read my ideas or my blog, but I think that like other people don't know, right? There's like a sort of thing like social proof.
Uh huh.
And if people are saying like, oh, 100,000 people follow this person on Twitter, and
And
then
then
they
they
go to a
just see
blog and see
boobs, and they're
naked
like, "Well, of
photos,
course they do."
right?
I could get 100,000 people if I showed my tits.
Right,
That doesn't mean
exactly.
shit, right? But you're proving that 100,000 people follow you because of stuff you say.
Correct.
Okay. Uh. Okay. Those other people are sexist.
Yeah, I
It's like
mean,
if I tell
like,
a black person they can't come to my birthday party because other people are racist there, not me. I am fine.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think stuff like that has happened in the past, but yeah, basically, I'm like, I
And it
definitely
will
am doing a
happen in
more
the
like
future.
intentional. image cultivation at this point?
I'm just giving you shit. I think that's, makes sense.
Oh, thank you. If I get super famous, maybe I'll start posting nudes again.
I think that would be fun to rug pull your own image with some naked pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that phrase, rug pull your own image.
It's a lot easier than the other way around to be a famous like porn star and then be like, and now I'm writing a book. You know?
Yeah. 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 I just want people to like me, man. I'm a simple being.
I don't know.
Do you have like plans for these kinds of interviews? I didn't watch any of your others. Do you have like a series of questions that you go through?
No.
Okay. How are you feeling right now?
I feel pretty. I have a. Most of my interviews don't go very well. So I feel glad that we can talk.
How do they not go well?
I um. Usually, what happens? Well, that's not. I'm not being fair to myself. One thing that happens sometimes is, um. Do you know who James Cantor is? I just interviewed him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Our interview got derailed because he said that people who disagree with him about gender and trans stuff are virtue signalers. And my main topic for the interview was pedophilia, so I was like, okay, I was like, I agree with you about pretty much everything. I agree with you about your trans stuff. I agree with you about your pedophilia stuff, like for the most part. But I don't agree that anybody who disagrees with me is like a hollow like moron or like psychopath. I don't agree with that. So I pushed back like a tiny bit at first. I said, are you bitter? And he was like, no, I've just learned to ignore, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay. Then we started talking about pedophilia, and he was like, he's like, these people who criticize me and who criticize you talking about me, like they don't care about children. They only care about virtue signaling. If they cared about children, they would do what the research shows. And I was like, okay, I don't think that's true. Some of it's virtue signaling, but you have to admit, like they do care about. I think people care about children. Like I care about children. I feel like they do care about children, and they may have a misguided way of showing that when it comes to witch hunting pedophiles. But like, and he was like, no, they don't. And so I asked him about simulated child porn. I don't ask everybody about simulated child porn, okay? It's because you're fucking tweets. So don't look at me like I do have a list of questions I run down, because I don't, okay? It just came up because both of you guys both like simulated child porn. It's not my fucking fault that you're cut from the same cloth. So anyway, I asked him about simulated child porn. And I said, do you think it's possible that this could increase pedophilic interest? And he said, no, sexual interest patterns are set from birth. And I was like, okay, but you don't know that. And he was like, well, the data doesn't show anything different. And I was like, okay, but the data has gaps, and like we don't. And he was like, we got his big argument. He was like, if you could change someone's sexual interest patterns, then conversion therapy would work. And I was like, the ability of your sexual interest patterns to be changed is not the same as being able to willingly change them. And how do we know that the people who try conversion therapy are good at it? Like I was like, are you really not willing to acknowledge any? Like, I was like, what if your sexual interest patterns can be changed after birth? Then would you think that would that be problematic? Like, would it be bad if this made people into pedophiles? Or like, do you think it would be bad if everybody in the world turned gay at the same time? Like, are you? And he was like, your question makes no sense. It's like if I asked you, if 2 + 2 is 7, what would a circle be? And I was like, it makes more sense than that, motherfucker. So then I was like, listen, I think you just don't want to give ammo to your critics, and that you're just like hate these people, and that's understandable. They hate you too, but I think you just are, you've like shut down any ability to like actually empathize with people who disagree with you. So that just kind of derailed and turned into a shit show. Other discussions. Frequently, I will detect that the other person feels something, or think I detect that they're feeling something. Comment on it. They will say it's not true, and I'll say I think it is true. And then my chat gets really mad at me because they're like, it's happening again. And they think I want the person to agree with me, but I don't. I don't. What I want, and what I'm finding in you as a conversational partner, is the willingness to have someone else's opinion of you be different from your own. So the fact that you are aware of and to willing to be aware that I have an opinion of you that is different from your own opinion of yourself, and they don't have to be the same. Because once you decide they have to be the same, then you have to relentlessly pursue and try to get me to say that like you are right about yourself, which is like, so it's so boring. So most of my interviews don't go well for that reason. I guess if I could boil it down to any one reason, it's that most people are not comfortable with somebody thinking something about themselves that they don't think, and can't have a conversation where that is the setup. They need it to be resolved with, you're either going to like break me and convince me to like have this realization about myself right now, or I'm going to call you stupid and say you think you know everything, and discredit you. But it can never be like, you have an opinion of me that is valid and I don't agree with it, but it's interesting, and like we can keep talking.
Hmm. It sounds like some sort of like taking identity as object thing that you're describing, like the ability to like take the thing you conceive of yourself and sort of like allow there to be multiple perspectives on it. But I really appreciate the observation. It feels like it comes out of some sort of like careful attention that I feel like I don't often see. And there's like a really nice fuzzy feeling of being like described in like a deep and rare flattering way that I really enjoy. Uh, and also I'm like, it makes me really curious about who you are such that you keep doing this to people on a repeated basis despite not enjoying it. Like I'm like, what kind of brain does that?
I really don't enjoy um, saying I think thing like to the whole idea of like starting a YouTube channel and saying what I think, only to have people try to use social norms and social pressure to make me say things that I don't think, seems very antithetical and weird to me. Why would I fight like my entire life to be able to be paid to say what I think, only to crumble and say what I don't think because someone's saying like they're going to get mad at me if I don't say it?
Mm.
It just doesn't make sense to me. It makes sense. It's like people think I'm like autistic. Like no, it makes sense to me. I just don't like it.
It seems like you said you're glad the interview's going well because a lot of them don't,
Mm.
which made me think that like maybe you don't really enjoy them. And so like I get like you have this value, but like what drives you to keep doing it?
The same thing as you. I want to help people accept themselves and each other.
Mm. Do you accept yourself?
I want to help people accept the ways that they don't accept themselves and each other too.
Mm. Nice, that's a nice little jujitsu move right there.
Go fuck yourself.
I mean, only if you pay me. Hold on, I'm gonna
Yeah.
close the window.
You don't masturbate unless paid.
That's,
That's
okay.
not.
You
That's
got
not.
me.
That's not good, Ayla. Um, I. Wait. What was my jujitsu? Oh yeah. Do I accept myself? Um. Yeah. I'll say compared to the average person, I probably accept more of myself. I don't think total self acceptance is like possible. It's something I strive for, but I think I'm mostly doing a good job of modeling self acceptance. I think. Yeah.
If you had to put a percentage on it, you had to.
Of how much I accept myself?
Yeah.
Like 60. 60%.
All right, if you had to put a percentage on the amount that the average person accepts themselves.
Like 20, 25.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
think I'm
pretty
doing
good.
great. I just think,
Yeah.
it's it only goes so far. Life sucks. Like being alive, being a body. There's so many shitty things about existing. So
Do
many
you
things are unacceptable.
do you like that?
No, I don't like it.
Okay.
I like that I can say it, you know?
Mm. Why?
Um I find it very like distasteful and embarrassing when people turn 37 and they're
Mm.
like, it's just beginning. The adventure is just beginning. And it's like, no, you're like your life's at, almost half over. It could or more. Like you're
That's
going
just
to
saying, like
die.
it feels like they're lying to themselves in some way.
Yeah, yeah. I hate
Yeah.
death denial. I feel like death denial is like at the center of a lot of like social niceties and abuse.
Wait, sorry. What? Where did the abuse word come from? Oh, it's at the center. Death denial is at the center of abuse.
I was
How?
thinking about school. I was thinking about what you said about
Oh,
school
okay.
and like how much I hated school. And part of what I was thinking about while I was hating school is like, this is not interesting. There's stuff am interested in. There's books I do want to read. There's things I want to make and do, and I have to read this thing that is not interesting, and listen to someone talk who's not interesting, and like you're using up my childhood. Like I'm gonna die. I would
Yeah.
think about death all the time, and like a lot of my thoughts about death would come right before it was time to do homework, and I'd just be like, I'm not gonna do. I'm
Oh,
not gonna spend my night doing this. I'm not gonna spend this one night that I'm never gonna get back writing this stupid fucking paper for you. Like, no, you can't make me do it.
that's
And
really
then, like,
weird. Like you're a weird kid.
you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
But I think if you like if you're aware of death, then like it's your values and like feelings are a lot easier to like sort through.
Mm. Is this like I have a thing I hate, which I don't know if you ever hung around hippies, but sometimes I go ecstatic dancing and sometimes they sit around and they're like, let's all sit in a circle and talk about how we feel. And the way they feel is always positive. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just so warm to be here.
Yes.
And everybody
Yes.
hums and like they go, like this in a circle. And I can't fucking stand it. And there's some way where it feels like a desperate like suppression,
To
like
not
almost like
die.
you're suffocating the baby that's crying too
Yes.
loud. You're like, shh, that's not there. We're all gonna like cling
Yeah.
desperately to a world where everything is fine. And it drives me insane. This is the thing that you're talking about,
Yes.
basically.
Yeah. And like so, like last night, one of my friends, we're on a call, we're playing Smash Brothers, and he was like, yeah, like my mom is 60 now. And it's just like weird, like everybody's getting older, like you're 37, blah blah blah. It's like we're talking about like getting older and like death, and I'm like, this makes sense. This makes sense to me as a conversation to have at my birthday party, playing video games, eating sushi, and talking about like how I'm like older and like my body hurts and like life is falling apart and sucks and like everybody's dying,
Mm.
and like that just and like it's not like, yeah, I feel like you should have some kind of existential crisis on your birthday. Or you should be allowed to. That's what I mean. And like a birthday party, um Shaylin, my girlfriend, and I went to a birthday party um last year. We did not get invited back this year because the host was turning like 55 or something, and she was like 55 years young. Like I just feel great. And I was like, you just feel great? And she was like, yeah, why wouldn't I? I'm like, I don't know, because you have to die. I mean, doesn't everybody feel upset on their birthday? She was like, I don't. I'm very grateful for my life. And then we just like left. It was really awkward. She like stopped talking to us, and then we
Just
sort
like your
of,
interviews.
yeah, it was just like my interviews.
Do you feel
Yeah.
like desperate for somebody to acknowledge like the inherent darkness?
Do I feel desperate for somebody to acknowledge the inherent darkness? I don't know if. Do I seem desperate?
I don't know. I think I like if I imagined being you based on the little info I have. I think that's sort of something I would imagine feeling, like some sort of like loneliness.
Yeah. Um, it makes me feel alone when people can't acknowledge bad feelings
Mm.
and death. So I think that when I'm trying to connect to people in interviews and I can't, I do think that there's a sense of like there's no point in the conversation if I can't connect to you. There's nothing we can talk. People were like, "Well, I really wanted to hear what Dr. Cantor had to say about like his research," and like I understand why you're pressing him, but like you derailed it. We never got to hear his interesting like fact. I'm like, we can read his research papers. Like, you want me to read you his papers? You want me to look up what he found? And like, I'm making a big video about grooming and pedophilia, so like, I'll tell you what he said in his studies. But the only reason to talk to him is to figure out. I want to know the lens you were looking through when you wrote what you wrote. And if the lens is everybody who disagrees with me is a lying sociopathic like moron, then I have to look at what you wrote differently. So to me, like the connection with the person I'm interviewing or talking to is more important or as important as whatever they're saying because it completely undermines my ability to like trust anything they say if they can't answer a simple fucking question about themselves or be disagreed with. People are very
It seems
culty.
really simple. Yeah.
So am I? I don't know if I'm desperate. Lonely is that felt. I read that resonated more.
Cool.
There's one other topic I wanted to ask you about. Unless did you have any other questions?
I
You
don't think
switched
so.
to interviewing me.
I didn't mean to.
All right. Well, I'm saying, can I take the wheel again, or is there anything else you want to ask?
Oh. The asking for permission for the frame is so interesting. Yes. Oh, you can have the wheel.
Okay, that's the next topic. I'm glad you said that word.
Uh-huh.
You called it frame control.
Uh-huh.
So this is another thing that I think is happening in my interviews, and I want to ask you about it, and your writing about it, and your thoughts about it generally. I think I try to not be controlling by calling out whatever I'm doing with the frame or whatever I think other people are doing with the frame. My goal is to have everything be above board with what's happening in the conversation. But a lot of people can't distinguish between talking about it and controlling it. And what I really resent is a lot of streamers are very good at controlling the frame, or interviewers in general, controlling the frame without acknowledging that that's what they're doing, which, as you said and your writing, makes it more controlling in your blog post about this.
Mm-hmm.
So then I get this reputation for being this like incredibly controlling, manipulative asshole because I'm constantly saying like, "Oh, here's what I think's happening in the conversation." But I can manipulate people. I know how to manipulate people, but I don't want to. I'm trying to not manipulate people by talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Does it feel
Uh,
like it works?
yes. Nobody knows. That's not true. Nobody. There's. Well, if you call out what you're doing in a conversation and everybody thinks that you were the manipulative, controlling one, that doesn't make it true. So I'd say it does work.
Yeah. I do think that a lot of people kind of misunderstand or like there's like blurred boundary stuff going on when it comes to like frame stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're like for example saying like I don't believe you when you report an internal experience about yourself is like a genuine statement of fact to communicate the way you feel. Like I notice that like I'm not experiencing belief in you right now. Uh But like you can't say that without it being perceived as a challenge in most kind of interactions. If you're like, I feel sad, and the person's like, I don't believe you, right? Like this has a lot of other meanings than besides like an attempt to connect and be honest about the way you feel. And so,
And it has a lot of other meanings to most people,
yeah, yeah, I am talking in general.
but it doesn't actually have those other meanings. It will be. I mean, that's what does it even mean for somebody to mean something? Like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Continue.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm like honesty, like to some degree, only works when people are capable of receiving it. Like honest communication only happens when one party says a thing and the other party like receives the intended effect. And so if somebody is not capable of receiving the thing that you're trying to communicate, then it's impossible to be honest with them, and it can make it really tough.
I don't think that's true.
No?
I don't believe you. No, I don't think that's true.
Can you be honest with a cat?
Yes.
What about a rock?
Yes.
Okay. What do you mean by honesty?
Okay.
We
Okay. Then
might
you're
just have
right.
different definitions of it then.
I think we do.
Okay.
Yours, I fear, has a lot of loopholes that will allow you to be very manipulative.
This may be true, but also doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't mean it's not right.
Right.
It doesn't even mean it's not a good definition. It's just making me uncomfortable. Because I guess my definition is, if I were you, what would be the message I would receive?
Mm-hmm.
So I speak to you the way I would speak to myself if I were sitting in your chair. I think that's my definition.
I see.
Which is how I talk to my cats as well.
Yeah.
And my rocks.
I think I tend towards this view quite a lot. Like I think this is what gets me in trouble on Twitter a lot. Like I'm tweeting to an audience of Aellas,
Yes.
and then I'm shocked when when they get mad at me.
Right. Well, people being mad at you could be a good barometer for whether you're being honest, though.
Like the more mad they are, the more honest I am.
Yeah. See, what you're referring to, I think, is more of like a practical business honesty. What you're referring to is like, like a couples therapy or families therapy, where you're like, these people are never really gonna fucking actually like connect, but we'll give them some tools to try to. They just have to make it another 30 years and then they'll be dead. So to get through these next 30 years, you can be honest without saying exactly what you're thinking. In some cases, saying what you're thinking is not authentic. The true authentic thing to do is think, how is this going to be heard?
Yeah.
And so learn to rephrase, and so that freaks the fuck out of me. I don't think that's authenticity or honesty. I think that's like that's like how to get what you want and get the response you want without completely selling your soul.
Yeah. Is this something like wait, I'm not sure. I may have misunderstood you, but like let me know if I did. But are you saying something like people have a very strong incentive to not actually be honest about things that would really damage their relationship, and so there's some sort of like very deep self-lying that happens where they convince themselves that like actual honesty is about communication and not about like saying what they mean?
Yeah, I think it's a very seductive idea.
Yeah, I think that this is fair. I think this is a pretty good point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we were talking about telling someone you don't believe them when they're sad.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's going to be taken as a challenge, is it still honest to say it? And I guess where I'm at is, and this is what I told Destiny as he was arguing with me about this exact topic. He was saying, you have to think about like how people are going to take what you're saying and try to get them to a place where they can trust you enough to understand really what you're trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, I don't. I was like, part of what I'm not just trying to connect to people in the individual conversation. I'm also trying to change the norm around how people talk to each other by not participating in the thing I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see how this can change unless we break the norms. Unless we say like, no, saying I don't believe you does not have to be a challenge. It can just be a statement of your own.
So
Experience.
there is a thing where that context that you just gave is in fact like part of the communication. Like if you just said I don't believe you and nothing else, but if you're like I don't believe you and I'm like resetting a norm here, like I want to be explicit, and that
No,
this
no,
is
no,
not
yeah, yeah, no. That's another loophole.
when you say loophole, do you mean like an outlet?
Lie. It's a lie.
Is it a lie?
Yes.
What part of it is a lie?
Um. You are making a meta comment about what you're doing to explain what you're doing.
Yeah.
And the lie is, now I'm on the up and up and everything's above board. But that's not true, because by making the meta comment, you have now done a new thing that you are very conspicuously not making a meta comment about to explain that thing, which would be, hey, I think you're too stupid to be able to be challenged, and you communicate in kind of a lesser, more reactive way where you desperately want to control what people think of you. But you know what? It's okay. I'm going to put a little pacifier in your mouth just to calm you down as I say this thing, because I think it's gonna make you upset. So here comes the passy, and the pacifier is,
Okay.
I'm a weirdo. I have this zany way of talking to people
Sure.
where I say what I'm actually thinking to them as though they're not a fucking idiot. Call me. Yeah, I'm the weird one, and so I think it's a lie. Yeah.
But can't you also say that like go up another meta level? Like I'm experiencing judgment of you right now that you like were incapable of figuring this out on your own. Like experiencing judgment that I felt like I had to explain this at all. Like if you actually are feeling that, can't you just say that too?
Yes, but
like another question is like, what are you actually deeply feeling? Like at the very core of it, do you feel like love and connection to the person in some way?
If you tell somebody all at once, I have a few things to say. So just hear me out. I don't believe that you're sad. However, I'm only saying this to challenge a social norm of I want to be able to say this not as a challenge, but as a statement of my internal being. And also, I'm feeling a little judgmental of you that I have to explain this to you. I'm a little disappointed. Okay, your turn. Go ahead and respond. I feel like yes, that may fix the that may plug up the loophole that I was talking about, but I it starts to just feel too convoluted where I'm like, I just would rather just say it, and then if somebody says, what do you mean you don't believe that I'm sad? I'll say, I can explain that.
So, I mean, I think this is fair. Like I deeply empathize with your perspective here, and I think that I come from this quite a bit.
Well, then why are you asking me what I'm trying to accomplish? It's a means versus ends thing, and I'm saying honesty. If you prioritize honesty and authenticity, then you have to prioritize the means rather than the response. You can't have it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you're a likable person. It would be really great if the end result of you being as honest and authentic and self-revelatory as you can would be that everybody liked you, but that's not going to fucking happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to choose at some point.
Whether or not I'm going to be honest or be liked. I mean, it is kind of a spectrum, and I feel like I am pushed pretty far towards the honesty spectrum compared to most people. Are you saying that I should go even further?
I'm saying that you should not sit there and tell me that being liked is being honest.
I don't think I believe that.
Well, that's why you shouldn't say
it. That's why I shouldn't say that being like this. I'm a little lost.
I think by saying that you're taking into account how people are going to receive what you're okay. You said you can't be honest to a cat because a cat doesn't understand what you're saying. If people understood what you're saying when you say, I don't believe what you're saying about yourself, a barometer for whether they understand it is that maybe Dr. Cantor did understand, maybe he understood exactly what I was saying, and that's why it got derailed, because he did understand it. So now we're conflating a person reacting badly with a person not understanding, and then we're conflating that with, oh, if you were more honest, and now honesty does not mean you're saying what you're thinking. honesty now means you are getting what you were thinking successfully across the treacherous journey through your mouth, out and into another person's ear and into their brain. Now that's honesty, and we'll measure how honest you were by how well they responded, and then we'll measure how well they responded. That's the same as them liking you. And now all of a sudden you're saying, if you say things and people like you, then you're honest. But
I think you might be attaching a few more things to my perspective than I actually believe. Like,
well,
I think
that's
it's
what I'm
possible.
concerned about.
Yeah, it seems like you're concerned about like a lot of failure modes that are attached to this sort of thing, which seems very reasonable to
I don't
me.
know what that means.
Like in the sense that like, if you adopt this heuristic, that there are lots of like ways it could go wrong, that are probably loud or like maybe very dangerous.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, okay.
I think your measure of it going right seems to be people reacting well.
I don't.
When I said
think
my
so.
interviews don't go well, I didn't mean I don't go well. I'm happy with my performance. I'm not happy with the outcome of the interview
Mhm.
because people don't like me. It makes me unhappy when people don't like me. It makes me more lonely. They reject me. Sometimes I do compromise and I'm nicer than I want to be, and then they don't like me anyway. Or sometimes they do like me, and then afterwards I'm like, Jesus Christ, what did I do? I feel like I just raped myself.
Hmm.
But I'm generally happy with myself being honest with people. And you're like, well, what's your goal? And like, why are you asking about my goals if we're talking about honesty? That is the goal. That's why I said it's the same as you, revelation of self and self-acceptance. You can't have that. The less honest you are, the less you have that. If people accept you because you were less honest, then what are they accepting? Nothing. Then you're just making money.
Hmm. I think I feel like a little uh like defensive or something right now.
No shit.
Hmm. Oh, that made me feel bad
What part?
when you said no shit.
Why?
Like I think I was looking for like some warmth or something.
I don't think that you're going to be able to, I don't think we can be warm towards each other unless you are a bit more aggressive during this portion of the conversation. If you feel defensive and you feel like I'm attacking you, I think I'm going to need you to fight back.
Because if I don't fight back, then what?
It's just cold.
It's cold. Like you feel like I'm not being warm?
Yeah.
So it's something like I want to feel warmth through you not fighting, and you want to feel warmth through me if by fighting.
Yeah, except I think you're wrong. I don't think that is warmth.
You don't think what is warmth?
Being distant.
Hmm.
Okay, it's happening right now. This is a good example. Okay. So, you had a thought. A negative thought, presumably, and a negative feeling about me and what I'm saying. But you translated it into, I think I'm feeling a bit defensive right now. Or something like that, right? In the most you turned it into like oatmeal for me, into spoon, so that I would have the easiest time hearing that you're not feeling great about what I'm saying. And then I spat in your face.
I'm like having a complicated feeling right now because I think I'm like a little mad at you, but feeling like if I express that you're gonna like, get what you want from me or something. And
Yes,
so I'm like having this like tension where I'm like I kind of like don't want to give you what you want.
I see that.
Yeah, but there's some way where I'm like some part of me is like if you want to know what's going on with me or to get me to express more, then you should ask me questions about the way that I'm feeling right now. Like there's a
I have to
way,
come to you.
yeah.
Why?
If you
You,
want,
do you not want me to know how you're feeling?
I do.
Have I not left the door open and wide enough for you? You want to knock the whole fucking wall down to make room for how mad you are? Or sad?
Oh, it hurts a lot.
What part?
Like the feeling like I don't know how to like touch you or something.
Well, it
I
wouldn't.
just felt like the sense of um like the things that was trying wasn't working, and then I felt like it was painful. And I have some like fear of you like judging me for being weak for crying right now. But I'm not making a request of you. I'm just letting you know.
I think it's fair that if I'm going to say that you can get mad, or that you have to get mad, that I also have to be able to withstand you crying. It'd be pretty shitty if I couldn't.
It, I like it. Like I think I just like it seems like you have desires for what you want out of a connection, and I do too. And like probably they don't match up. Uh, and I just want to figure out how to work with it. Like I don't.
Well, I think you expressed earlier that you have a desire to not give me what I want. And so if that's true, it would be hard to see how they could match up.
It
So
was
is
just
there
because I was mad. Like I fundamentally would like to. It was just in
but
that moment.
you're also mad. So how do we proceed if when you are mad, you fundamentally don't want me to have what I want?
I feel mad again because it feels like you're putting words in my mouth, and then I feel like I need to correct you.
Okay.
And I think I'm upset that it feels like you're not really trying to understand like the way that I actually feel because you keep rephrasing what I'm saying in ways that don't feel accurate to me.
Okay.
And then I feel like I have to like fight to be seen by you. I'm
Okay.
like I
Do you want
don't fundamentally feel mad at you. I
okay,
really don't.
okay, yeah, I shouldn't have said fundamentally. Do you want me to try again?
Thanks. So yeah, I would like that.
Okay. In that moment, you were mad.
Yeah.
In the moment you're mad, um, you didn't want to give me what I want,
Yeah.
which is for you to openly express that you're mad instead of saying something oatmeal like I'm feeling some defensiveness.
Yeah, I think it's because uh the frame made it feel like if I did get openly mad at you, that it would feel like I was obeying you or submissive to you in some way, as opposed to like actually independently what pursuing what I wanted.
Right.
And I think that's why I had that resistance.
Okay. Um, so to answer your question about what to do about us wanting different things and from how to talk to each other, I think the reason I said the word fundamentally is because it's so important to me that I feel the whole rapport will be undermined if when you're mad, if when there's conflict, you get distant. So you were saying I wasn't being warm, and I said, well, I think you're not being warm. And then you said, well, you have to come to me and ask me a question. And I said, well, no, fuck you. Like, you come to me. So the reason I said the word fundamentally is not to say like you are your anger or that is all that there is. It's to say if when you are angry you withdraw, um, and are cold, and I understand from your perspective it may be that you're being diplomatic, or maybe that you're trying to say something that's easier for most people to hear. But for me, it's not easier to hear. It's much harder to hear you say, I'm feeling defensive right now than it is to hear you say, you don't know what you're talking about, or shut up, or whatever, I don't know, whatever it is you're thinking. That's much easier for me to hear. And I feel like it's warmer for you to just call me like arrogant than it is for you to say you're feeling defensive.
Yeah, I do like that. I feel like you're like, explicitly stating what you want.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a
Well,
desire
no, go ahead. Sorry.
to like meet you there or something. And there's also something like I don't want to bend over in order to like inhabit the conversational norms you want. And it's possible that that will make like the overarching conversation suffer, and that seems okay. Like if the thing that happens is just us like triggering each other, like cool. I'm kind of okay with just seeing where each individual step goes.
Okay. There's something you're not okay with, though, which is your sense that I am deliberately provoking you to try to force you to do what I want.
Yeah, I think that
You
I
seem
don't like
to
feel it in this moment, but when I do feel it, it makes me angry.
yes, that seemed to be part of why you're angry, is that you think I'm deliberately misunderstanding you and taking this feeling of connection and understanding that you could have and moving it just out of reach and saying you're going to have to cross this threshold of being openly aggressive if you want it, but if you don't, then you can't have it. Not because that's what I actually need, but just because that's just me like controlling you for some reason.
I don't. I don't think I actually believe you're just like arbitrarily being controlling.
I
Uh,
don't I don't know if
but
you actually believe it, but I think you believed it for a second.
um, I might not be aware of it in myself, but as far as I can check, I don't. I honestly don't think
Okay,
I
I
believe
got I
that.
got the sense that you felt like we were in some kind of power struggle, and I was trying to provoke you into snapping, and if you snap, I win.
Well, yes. Sorry, I maybe like the phrasing was slightly off.
Well, I guess
Uh,
I just would find that behavior detestable and manipulative. So I get maybe that's why I'm phrasing it that way to try to signal to you that
okay, that you're
I
not doing
understand.
that.
I don't think I'm doing it, but as
Okay.
you said, and with your frame control essay, people don't ever think that they're doing it. So it doesn't matter if I think I'm doing it. My intentions don't matter. I'm not trying to signal about my intentions. I'm trying to signal that objectively, I agree with the idea that it would be shitty to try to provoke you and sort of consent violating to provoke you into emotionally snapping, and then you're forced to have the kind of interaction I want.
Mm.
You can't provoke somebody into being like thoughtful and careful in their delivery, which maybe is what you want. You can provoke somebody into like throwing their own internal organs at you, which is what I want.
I'm curious how you feel right now.
Um, I feel worried about you, and
Mm.
I feel um anxious that one, I'm anxious that you're gonna basically be comfortable with anything except anger,
Mm.
and that yeah, I'm always afraid of this feeling like I'm walking around a minefield or stepping on eggshells, and so
Like, oh, is it something like it's possible that there's some part of me that's angry, but I'm not going to show it, and so you don't know if you're going to step on the thing?
or or I'm just gonna step on it and then be accused of deliberately stepping on it, or yeah, something. I
Yeah,
don't know. The fact that you don't want to get angry, I think, makes me uneasy. That's scary to me.
that makes
So
sense.
I think that makes me feel uneasy, and well, also, I mean, like, I have no idea if we DM or talk privately. I assume that this dynamic would be pretty different. So I am also again cognizant of the audience, but yeah, you asked how I was feeling. Are you looking at chat? You motherfucker. You're looking at the fucking chat?
Just that, yeah, I haven't
What are they
really.
saying? What are they
So
saying?
someone said
You
something
said you
about
were going to
abuse.
tell them. We
Yeah,
had an agreement. We had a fucking
I did.
agreement, and you broke it. So what are they saying?
The only word I caught was juicy.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't. Um, but so there's one thing where like it's a habit of mine where if somebody tells me that I should feel something, I want to feel the opposite or behave the opposite.
Yeah.
Like there's some way I want to break the frame. In
Yeah.
general, I don't think I have issues expressing anger. Like the reason this was a problem is because like I at least I interpreted, I could have been wrong, that you wanted some sort of like angry pushback or some sort of like me being more forceful. And so I interpreted this again, I could have been wrong, as you like wanting anger. And then I was like, fine, I'm not going to give you anger. But in general, I don't have that feeling about anger. Like usually I'm pretty open about expressing it when I feel it. And I did express it pretty directly and quickly after that when it came up. And right now I'm doing like some sort of reassuring motion. I'm like trying to like tell you not to be worried.
But I am.
But yeah, but you are.
I just am. The other
Yeah.
because the other part of it is that it's not you're changing the frame. You're changing it from you expressed anger in a way I didn't like, and so then I told you that you had to do it differently. But what actually happened, Aella, is that you said I wasn't being warm. After I reacted to how you expressed anger, or what I view as anger, do we agree that when you said you're feeling defensive, that at that moment you were angry?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I think you were angry and you don't.
Like it's possible there might have been like some of it like in the background, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't a forefront emotion at least.
Okay. Maybe I'm just fixated on it. But anyway, I thought you were feeling angry, and so that's why I reacted. I said no shit when you said you were feeling defensive. And because I was like, why don't you just fucking like just do it? I'm like, if you're gonna fucking say it something about your feelings, just express them. You don't have to like package it all up for me to make it digestible. It's the exact opposite of what I'm saying I want people to do in these conversations. And then you said I wasn't being warm, and then I said, if you want me to be warm, I think you're gonna need to be less like careful, basically. I said fight back, but I think what I really meant is I felt like you're being careful, which feels that feels cold. So that's not quite the same as me saying, hey, I don't like how you're expressing yourself, change it.
Yeah.
I was saying, if you want the kind of like closeness in this conversation that you're asking for, I'm going to need you to be less careful.
Yeah, it's possible that like that kind of closeness is impossible because there's like a way where I'm like I feel like good in my caution, like it's there for a reason, and I'm like down to make experiments and be flexible for it. But I also feel like I'm not just arbitrarily doing this, like it's not very intentional. And I'm not saying that you're incorrect. I'm not saying that like I don't need to be different in order
You're
for
saying
closeness.
no.
I might be saying no. I think
That's fine. Even then, I'm like, just say, well, I'm like, are you so careful you can't just say no?
I do suspect
Just
you might be
explain it.
like chronically mismodeling me in the sense that like sometimes I'm saying things to work out thoughts, and maybe you're interpreting this like I am I know what I'm thinking, but I'm being like trying to figure out a nice way to say it. This is not the case.
I don't think no, no. I don't think your
No?
intentions matter.
Do they not?
No, they don't matter to me. And as far as my reaction to what you're saying, for Ayla, for the reason you said, do you want me to quote your own essay to you? You said that when in terms of evaluating frame control, you should not evaluate someone's intentions.
Yeah, I know. I don't think
Believe
either
me.
of us are doing the thing that I talked about in that essay. I
Well, I
never
think,
at one point
but
thought you were
everybody's
doing.
always doing the thing you talked about in that essay. You just don't think we're doing it to a meaningful degree. But I don't know if that's true. Anyway, the reason I mention it is not to say that your subjective experience doesn't matter to me or that I don't care about your feelings. It's to say that you can say, "Oh, I'm just thinking out loud. I'm not trying to say things in the most like easy to hear diplomatic way possible." But if the outcome is that is what you're doing, then I'm still going to experience it as you being careful, even if you don't think you're being careful.
Sure,
So I don't
but
know if I don't know if I'm mismodeling you.
I mean, you can still correct like sometimes you might say things and I think you're feeling one thing and then I learn later that you weren't actually feeling that. And it seems like a reasonable thing to update.
Well, I think you learn later that I did think I was feeling it, but that's different from. I mean, do you think you know what you're feeling? Are you the ultimate?
Usually,
Not always.
not always, but usually. I
Who
think
is the
I'm.
final authority on what you're feeling, or is there not one? I think there isn't one.
Yeah, I don't, that's kind of a strange question.
Well, I think we need an answer.
You think we hit an answer?
I think we need an answer. I need your answer. Do you think you get to decide what you're feeling?
Uh,
Sorry.
I, d-
Do you think you get to define what you're feeling?
uh, I, th- like be able to label it.
Do you think there is an ultimate authority on what you're feeling? Who knows the truth? And is that ultimate authority you?
That's such a like strange question. Uh, I don't know if there's an ultimate authority, but if there were one, it would be me. It's like like
Well,
the
it'd be
thing is
weird.
like
It would be weird for it to be somebody else.
yeah,
Okay.
I do think that I am significantly better at identifying my emotions, my own emotions, than other people.
That may be true, but that might just mean 60% rather than 25%. That doesn't mean that you are the ultimate authority. You could be the leading
Sure.
authority. You could be the leading authority, but that doesn't
Yeah.
make you the ultimate authority. So no matter what you say about your feelings, somebody else can still justifiably say, "Well, I don't believe you."
Yeah, I'm not like saying people don't have a right to not believe me.
Okay. Well, you said if you find out somebody was actually feeling something else, then you should update your
Yeah,
model.
I
But
was
you
I was trying
saying
to
but you saying you were actually feeling something does not mean I'm finding out you're actually feeling something. It just means you think you were feeling something else.
sure. Yeah, I'm not that I
Well, you
didn't
want me to
mean that.
base my models off you off of what you think of yourself? Then what fucking use am I as somebody that you're talking to?
I
If
feel like frustrated now. I feel like you like I was trying to clarify a thing and
okay, well, do you want to
yeah, just
finish?
I'm just having feelings.
Okay.
Um, I'm trying to remember what the fuck I was talking about.
You said that I was mismodeling you, and I repeated it in a
Oh
sort
yeah,
of
when I was
dismissive
saying
way.
that like
Yeah.
when you find out that somebody else was feeling something different. I mean literally your model updated on them. Like
Well, that
not that there is an objective authority or
yeah,
anything.
but you said it seems like it's reasonable to if somebody tells you they were feeling something different than what you thought, then you should update your model. I'm saying I'm happy to hear your opinion on what you're feeling. I'll listen to it, and there's a special part of my model that's like this is what Aella said she was feeling, but that isn't my model itself. That's just part of it.
Sure. Yeah, I don't
Okay,
expect you
okay,
to just
okay,
like I don't
okay,
expect me to like say I'm feeling an emotion, you to automatically download it as total truth. Like it would be
okay.
strange kind of if that happened.
I don't think anybody does that. I think that's another reason I get so frustrated about this is that like nobody actually operates that way. Everybody constantly is like, "Oh, that was a fake smile. Oh, that was a fake laugh. Oh, that person is obviously about to burst into tears." Like
Yeah.
people are constantly like, "Oh, this porn actress is faking. That's not a real orgasm. She's not having any fun. I don't like this video." Like we're all constantly disagreeing with people's self-assessments of their feelings. But then if you tell them you're doing that, suddenly you're like an autistic weirdo.
Sure. I think that this is true. I think lots of times I don't believe in people. There's this is like one end of the spectrum. I also like want to describe the other end of the spectrum, which is like I've had experiences where I'm like listening to somebody talk and I think they're feeling this way. And then afterwards I talk to them and I ask them, were you feeling this way? And we talk about it quite in depth. And then ultimately I come away from it convinced that I was originally mistaken. So like there have been times where I believe in myself that I actually had like a misread on what was going on due to other factors. So
Yeah.
there is the thing where we actually can misread people, and other times where people misread themselves. Uh,
Yeah, I think I misread you earlier. The first time I thought you were mad, when you said "nice job,"
yeah.
um, and then you were like, "No, I wasn't mad. I was uncomfortable, and here's why." And then that did update my model.
Hmm.
I was wrong about you.
Thanks. This is a weird conversation. It's got like a little internal flinch that you'd be upset at me for like diffusing tension.
Yeah, that does upset me. Well, it's always scary finding out what a new person does when they're upset in front of, hundreds of people. Also,
Are you the new person or am I the new person?
in that instance, well, yes, I think we're both feeling uneasy. We're having a conversation that has the potential to be highly upsetting for both of us. So I probably was projecting, but I also think that your internal flinch, if we were friends, I don't think you'd be as worried about upsetting me, but we're not.
Yeah. It's definitely pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah.
How are you feeling right now?
Um, cautiously optimistic.
Hmm. I'm a
Uneasy,
little surprised.
uneasy still. What'd you say?
I think I'm a little surprised by that.
That I'm cautiously optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I
That's
don't know.
sad.
I just didn't expect you to say that or something.
What'd you think I was gonna say?
I mean, the uneasy was more.
Yeah, I feel worried. I mean, again,
Yeah.
like that. Like, yes, it's a stressful conversation, and lots of weird things are happening. But I'm like kind of in charge of it. So
Hmm. Is the in charge of it part of the worry?
yes, I feel responsible. I generally feel responsible for other people, probably more than I should. But like, especially if it's my stream. If it was your stream and I was on here and I was the one who was like crying and like saying all this shit, then I would be having a great time. I would. It would be much less stressful for me. But I think the feeling of yeah, just worrying. Feel worried.
Do you want to make me more uncomfortable?
No,
No. Okay.
not on purpose. No. I'm not like jealous. I'm not jealous. Well, maybe I am jealous, but that I'm not saying. Uh, I think that's just part of like the job. You know, you gotta. I don't like it when like somebody brings somebody on to like a show or a stream and then just like plays to their audience and doesn't care about the person and just tries to, you know, create entertainment. It seems irresponsible. So that's why I feel anxious.
Oh. Like a responsibility to make sure that my well-being is
Not just
important or
yours,
something.
but yes,
Mm.
everybody's.
Mm.
All right, you want to take some questions from the chat, or is there do you have any other upcoming projects you want to talk about? No, I don't know. Is there something else you want to talk about?
God. I don't think I've ever been this uncomfortable in an interview podcast thing before. I feel like
Do you want to talk about that? You feel like
I
what?
think I want to like make statements about how I feel, not because like particularly I'm not like trying to continue a conversation, but just like for the record.
Okay.
Uh something like I feel definitely like there's like a tension in my chest. I'm like like kind of like you've been watching a car wreck a little bit and you're like, ah fuck. Uh some part of me is having fun because this is very novel. Uh, like I feel like simultaneously connected to you and wary of you. It was just really strange combination. Uh, and I feel like I want to cry more, but like nothing's really triggering it yet. So yeah, I think that's a good summary.
Wary
Yeah.
of what?
Uh, like some part of me anticipates that if I try to interact with you on a deep level, there's this like sensation that will happen in me, um, which is something like feeling like I'm fighting against a current to be understood. I'm not saying necessarily that you are doing this, but like that, I think that part of me is like a little tense because it anticipates that.
My my loneliness and fighting against a current of social pressure to not say what I think is happening probably is um, making you feel like my reaction to that is making you feel like I'm drowning you out.
Yeah, maybe. My one story I have about it, which again, I have no low confidence. Like I'm happy to change my mind if you tell me it's not true. It's something like there's something to you that feels like very important in this, and there's like there's some like urge to be heard or understood in that, and like that sort of like trying to convey that is like makes me feel like there's not like a listening for me or something. Is that true? Like,
I think that's true, but I think
mhm.
that my solution is that you should be louder and more vulnerable and less careful, and then there would be room for you. But the thing is, you don't want to do that. So I have to choose between reining myself in a bit to make more room for you, or keeping the challenge open and being like, if you want to be heard, you are going to have to scream at me.
Mm.
Which you pretty semi explicitly don't want to do. So I think basically what you're saying is true, and that it's yeah, that's it. I think it's basically true.
Yeah. Part of me is like, oh, maybe we should wind this down. But another part of me is like, I think I feel
What would happen if we didn't?
if we, I don't, we'd eventually fall asleep.
What if we just stepped on the gas? Okay, sorry. What were you gonna say?
Step out the gas. uh, there's something I feel like a little insulted in being perceived as like not vulnerable or something.
Yeah.
Like there's a way where I feel like I'm really bringing myself here. Like I'm really
Uh,
like trying to show as much as I can.
sort of.
And it's possible that this just still isn't enough for you, which is okay.
No, no, no,
But,
no, no,
but
no.
there's some
There's
way
some.
that I want recognition for like there's some way I would it would feel good to like be like yeah okay like you are like really trying or something.
Right. Well, last time you said that, I said your intentions don't matter, and you burst into tears.
Yeah, you want to make me burst into tears again?
Your intentions don't matter. It doesn't matter if you're trying. That's not what I'm talking about. You trying to be vulnerable is not the same as being vulnerable. You know that. You're vulnerable about some things, and in some ways, about some feelings, and there's others that you're much more careful about. I think anger is one that you're more careful about.
Mm. Yeah, I I think I strongly believe that you're inaccurate about some parts of me.
That I am
Um,
inaccurate?
yeah, wait,
Okay.
and we could have different opinions about that or something, but that's just my state right now.
Okay. I don't even know if I believe that. No, I do. I believe that. I think. I don't know. Anyway, it's not a question of more vulnerable. It's more like vulnerable about what?
I kind of want to ask more questions about it, and also I'm starting to get tired or like worn out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can talk about it another time.
Okay.
I yeah, I like you, and I want to at least certainly be friendly, colleague, allies, or whatever. So uh, we can talk about it another time.
Thank you for being honest with me about the way you feel, even when it pisses me off. Ow. Oh. Ah. Oh, man. Okay. So what's the next step here?
Um, we can be done, or we can ask the chat if they have any questions for you. Um, and it's truly up to you. I don't. There's no program or plan, so
Uh, I'm curious what the fuck is going on with the chat.
I know. But like, you can be done and just still read the chat. Like like you don't have to broadcast your reactions to whatever they say. You don't want to.
I'm not sure what I want right now. Uh, I think I feel. Oh, I keep wanting to like cry, and now I'm feeling self conscious about it. It's kind of like more like a physical processing reaction at this point. Um,
You have to poop
but it
out of
feels,
your eye holes.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm feeling like both like I'm curious about chat's questions, and also like particularly. Oh my god, I can't even like just self conscious right now or something.
I'm gonna
So
recommend. I'm not gonna cut you off, but I'm gonna recommend that you not talk to the chat right now, live, in the emotional state that you're in.
I'm like I like uh uncomfortable situations. Like,
Hey, and
but yeah, it
if you
seems like
want
it's
uncomfortable,
fine.
just tweet out the child porn tweet again. If you want an uncomfortable situation, that's always there for you. You need another hit. You just that's always there.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you've proven yourself enough. You know. The chat's bad for you. It's bad for me. The chat is psychologically bad for you to expose
Have
yourself
you
to.
been watching it?
No, no. I'm
Okay.
saying it and saying
Okay.
as a rule. I know as a
Yeah.
part of the. I mean, it's probably just good for me when I stream, when I talk to people, to not look at the chat, just because looking at the chat is bad for you. Even if you're me, maybe especially if you're me, and then them seeing your live reaction, and it's like it's not
Yeah.
it's psychologically damaging. So
Okay.
I, you know, I recommend look if you're gonna read it, you should read it from the privacy to bring it back
Okay.
of having your camera off and like not being on the call.
Okay.
You accept my
Sure.
recommendation?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Are we done?
Yeah, I think so. Unless there's anything else you want to say.
I I don't know. Think I'm good.
Okay.
Cool.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, thank you for coming and for your, you know, being yourself. And let's talk more later.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye, Ella. All right, chat. You still there? Ask her to review cuties. Chat needs Jesus. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. After this interview, I feel like I'm psychologically damaged too. $5 from Jared Royster. This convo gives me vibes of late night Skype calls with my girlfriend in high school. I'm glad we could take it back. Mr. K. Max, how are you and why did you do that? I don't think I agree with what you're implying I did. Nice Snapchat filter self-interview. Mr. Girl went easy on her too. Mr. Girl gaslighting as usual. Why'd you make her cry? I don't think I can. I didn't make her cry. Crying is good for you. Bravo, that was a ride. Thank you, the Clark one. She was interesting. Hi, Aella. You're afraid of your femininity. You think so? I feel like I was pretty in touch with my femininity throughout that entire thing. You misunderstood her, bro. Why was this so meta? What were you trying to do? I wasn't trying to do anything. I don't. It's not like a plan. If you ever start a podcast, I think you found your co-host today. Oh, that's nice. For sure made her cry. Man, you can't take responsibility for other people's feelings. Aella got destroyed in this debate. Never heard of this woman. I like her. Wait. Let me tell you her blog. Knowingless.com. If you like Aella and you want to hear more, go to knowingless.com and the Substack. Aella.substack.com. AELLA.substack.com. Good reads, thought-provoking stuff. Is this hot ones? Did she eat the last wings? I don't know what that means, Joe. $5 from Giame. I never know how to say your name. You're not taking Destiny's advice. You failed. Also get more mods, old man. Thank you. Thank you for the $100, 7Ds. Your streams still suck, but congrats on getting Aella on, and thanks for the main channel vid. There's more coming to the main channel. I'm working on that. Thank you for the $100. I appreciate it. Juan Carlos Herrera, do you think you maybe lost some of the honesty in this convo because you didn't want to express you were attracted to her? No, blurting out whether you're attracted to the person you're talking to that's not. That's what I was getting at with the difference between honesty and privacy. Like, yes, it might be the most honest, authentic thing to do to blurt out whatever you're thinking whenever you're talking to somebody or walking down the street or whatever. But it's like spam. It's like you still have to have a functional conversation. I'm not saying I am in favor of honesty at the expense of all functionality. I'm saying I'm in favor of honesty and authenticity and intimacy at the expense of maybe some nicety. When I was saying that I think there's a certain point at which if you're so honest in how you communicate, such as blurting out whatever you're thinking whenever you're talking to somebody, there's a certain point where they start to like you less the more honest you are. I wasn't saying that just applies to Aella. I was saying that applies to everybody. So yeah, I think we can all have private thoughts about the bodies or personalities of, or whatever of the people we're talking to, and decide when to share those thoughts. I think I think I'm pushing just for different ideas or maybe rules. No rules. I don't know. Different norms around when it's okay to share them or a good idea to share them. $5 from Chad Nauseum. Super happy to see the Destiny Sphere and the Rat Sphere start to merge. I don't know what Rat Sphere is. Are you honest with your cats? VS Daddy would never gaslight you was great. I see. I told the cat I would never gaslight her, and I don't. At least as far as I know. Clark Cunt, thank you for the $5. Would you ever interview Rod Dreher? Thank you for the $2. I don't know who that is. I'll put him on my list. Your streams suck. Here's $100. Yeah. Wait, what is it? Rod Dreher. Yeah, okay. If you realize that a train of thought is lost, is it dishonest to bring it back into focus? I'm not trying to get some like insanely OCD definition and level of honesty. I'm just saying if someone's talking to you and you don't believe what they're saying and you're you're having like a intimate conversation, it's more intimate to tell them what you think. That's all. I just think that to me, intimacy is telling people what you're thinking about them. And so if you expand that, then you expand intimacy and honesty. I'm not like an honesty purist. That's not what I'm not trying to make myself out to say I'm constantly saying what I'm thinking at all times. I'm very clearly like calculating in what I say out loud. Joe Bobbert, Hot Ones is an interview show where people eat very hot wings and usually end up in tears. Can't believe I paid $5 to explain my joke. Thank you for the $5 and for the explanation. I think you have OCD about honesty. I don't think it's OCD. I just think, I don't know. That's fine if you think that. You might be the weirdest person I've ever seen, but you are truly captivating in your honesty, and I respect the hell out of that. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. More Mr. Girl ASMR when? Right now. Any progress on reaching out to Predator Sting YouTube channels? Yeah. I am talking to one. I think by the end of the month. Blurting out everything in your thoughts results in lower honesty because not everything in your thoughts is the truth. That's true. That's a good point. That in order to say something out loud, you are assigning a certain weight to it. And if you just have like a fleeting passing thought that you don't really agree with, it's not, yeah. I mean, you could say I'm thinking and then say whatever, and I guess that makes it true. I don't know. I think it boiled down to Aella thinking euphemism was warm and you wouldn't budge. Yeah, maybe she thinks she's being warm and I'm saying she's being self-protective. Which makes me bristle. Makes me mad. Puts me in attack mode. I love your main channel videos though, and Aella isn't like a Twitch person, so I thought this was cool, and the last guy was okay too. My favorite YouTuber is Benjamin Bennett. Interview him. Thank you for the $10 and the suggestion. Anyway, not sure if my last message went through. Love whatever happened. Not sure what it was. Thank you for the $5. It was just a Nice conversation between two people trying to understand each other. How long term is this video you're making? The groomer video? I think it's going to be a couple months. I have to finish my Real Doll review first. And then I think there's another video I might edit and finish first. So I think it'll be within the next 2 months. The groomer video will be done. I don't have a hot take on Amber versus Johnny's court case. Yeah. Which one is my main channel? It's just Mr. Girl. YouTube.com/MrGirl. Race IQ video when? I don't know. The short answer is I think race realists are just racists for other reasons, and that. But I guess I can go at length to explain why I think that. $5 from Nick. You remind me of a YouTuber named Dr. Randomer Cam. I used to love his content, but recently he's become an alt-right freak. Stay pure, Max. Yeah, I get messages and emails from people who are afraid I'm gonna like drift into highly partisan political content. I guess nobody's worried I'm gonna drift far to the left after my recent videos, but yeah. $5 from M4A now. I like her. I liked her tweet before she deleted it, which was the first time I've ever heard of her, and then you have her on. I appreciated it. Yeah, I like her tweet too. I can't wait for her to tweet it out again. Jared Royster, $2. Ever thought about talking to Anxiety War? I think so. I think it's on my list. I'll put it on again. I think people are telling... I think some people have told me not to talk to him, and some people have said I should. I can't remember. Wait, maybe I... Yeah, I can't remember. Do I make them on purpose? Do I make people cry on purpose? No, I don't make people cry on purpose. Wait. I hope Brittany Simon can help call out some of the stuff here. Yeah, so I'm talking to Brittany Simon in 2 days. I watched her stream, her earlier stream, like where she was talking about me, and she was saying, I think she said I was boring. This was 3 months ago, but like she was talking some shit about me, so I'm curious about what that's going to be like. That random guy, 146, $2. Can you look into the cam and say, Obama? Do you feel Aella is what you want Lauren Southern to be? No. Aella is her own person. I'm trying to compare her to anybody else. No. And Lauren Southern is her own person. I accept them both just the way they are. I think when she said, I'm feeling defensive, she was making a conscious effort to be honest, but you wanted her to be more direct or aggressive and indirectly called her a liar, which is unfair. Yeah, I guess I was saying I know you're trying to be honest, but I don't think you are. And that is a pretty aggressive thing to say. I don't know if it's unfair, but it's not I guess it's not that nice. $2 from the martial list. Obama. Trap leader, $5. Everyone's throwing money at you. I had to join in. I appreciate that. See, Aella, if you're still watching, I'm a sex worker too. $2. Aims for groin. Will you do a review of Reddit? Yeah, maybe. $2 from Bocce Moviegoer. Thoughts on Philip Roth? I've only read Portnoy's complaint, but, you know, obviously it... I liked it. Have you seen Vosh's Unironically Evil? Thank you for the $2. I've started. I should watch it. I should watch it. Yeah. I think polarization and hyper partisan stuff is something I want to talk about in the future. So I should watch that. And I talked. I think I was on a panel with the guy who made it, and I enjoyed him. Getting her to cry was good content. But if you want to avoid it, just don't make the convo about how all your convos fail. I don't want to try to stop people from crying, and I don't want to make them cry. I feel like I want to just create a space where people can express themselves however they feel they need to. Does chat scare you deep down? Not, yeah, chat scares me not deep down, just regular scares, and then also, yes, deep down. It's a scary thing. Did Doomer disappear from the internet? I don't know. Yeah, I haven't heard from him lately. Is autogynephilia based or cringe? I think it's good if you know what you like and can admit it to other people. And I think being horny is good. You know, I guess I don't have anything else to say about that. You scare us too. Well, that's good. Why? We love you, Max. Yeah, that's part of what's scary. Do you ever do conversations with random viewers? The closest thing is I have a weekly call-in show every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern called Advice and Confessions with Mr. Girl. People call in anonymously to ask me for advice or make a confession. But that is it. You can do that by joining the Discord at discord.gg/MrGirl and asking Baby to speak to me and to be on the show in the request channel. Baby is the admin, and he will screen you to figure out if it's appropriate. It's also interesting for you to be on the show. I'm not involved in that at all. Trust my white van for $5. You find warmth through confrontation, and she said she didn't want that right now, but you said she was wrong and didn't really give her the space or understanding. I don't think I said she was wrong about not wanting confrontation. Did I? I hope I didn't say that. I definitely did not switch to her preferred method of communicating in that moment, and she didn't switch to mine. I think we just kind of had an impasse, talked about it, and moved on. I don't know. I think that was okay. The Bright Darkness, $5. Would the compassionate thing be to abstain from typing in chat? No, I'm not trying to get... You're not responsible for my feelings. You're not here to take care of me. You're the audience. It's my job to set boundaries with you and take care of myself. So if I say reading chat is psychologically destructive, I'm not trying to guilt trip you into feeling like you can't type in the chat. I just think the setup of streaming as a thing is like kind of messed up. And then, so inherently, I think it's kind of fucked up. And then the norms also are fucked up. And like, I do want to change the norms, but not by guilt. Like, one of the norms I really don't like is when streamers are like, hey guys, I'm really tired today. Like, don't you guys feel so bad for me? And they're like, oh, like, I think that's really fucking weird and definitely increases the parasocial dynamic. So I'm not trying to get you to caretake me. The only ways I want to be caretaken by the audience is watch my content if you think it's interesting, give me money if you want to support it, and buy my shirts if you have the balls to wear them in public. But I'm not trying to get you to feel emotionally responsible for my well-being. That's not how this works. I make stuff for you, not the other way around. Mark Tangles, $10. Be honest, you use silence like a weapon at times. Also, I've never watched two people connect on that sort of a level in real time. It was surreal. Well, I'm glad that we were able to show you a that human connection. I don't think I use silence like a weapon. I think I don't know. I don't think weapon is a right word. I don't even know if I use silence. It's more like sometimes I have an urge to say something to break the tension or smooth things over, and I stop myself because I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to or don't think it's a good idea. If that's using silence as a weapon, then fucking lock me up for assault, asshole. Let me change your diaper. Mr. Girl, how did you meet Baby? He was. I met him through making content. When my channel was much smaller, he was like, "I want to start your Discord, and I will be the king of it." And I was like, "Okay." Now he is. Common Cure, $5. Tomorrow's my day off to celebrate. I will cook salmon. Identify the mistakes in this sentence, then correct them. 4 points. Tomorrow isn't capitalized. I isn't capitalized. There's no period at the end of salmon. Oh, tomorrow's my day off, period. To celebrate, capital T, comma, I will cook salmon. Oh, you said this sentence. I guess there should be no period at all. Tomorrow's my day off. M dash, to celebrate, comma, I will cook salmon. Fuck you. Trying to fucking trick me. You are good content, but a bad person. How do you think I'm a bad person? God. I mean, just in general, or because of this conversation? I don't think I was a bad person in this conversation. That sounds like a recipe for admin abuse. Yeah. It is. Discord itself is a recipe for admin abuse. Stardust is self-harming with the racist again. Stop her. I know. I'm trying to stop her, but she won't listen to me. Stardust. Stop talking to racist people. It's not good for you. Okay. Would you rather be a good person and make bad content? I don't want to make content that harms people or makes the world a worse place. I would rather make content nobody likes that helps people than make evil content that people like. Okay. I'm done streaming for today. My next stream will be Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. It will be with Brittany Simon. And then the stream after that will be Advice and Confessions with Mr. Girl on Sunday. When are you going to talk to Aella? I just talked to Aella. When am I going to talk to her? Oh, you mean like off? I don't know. I try to keep my off-stream conversations private, so yeah, I'm sure if she wants to reappear on the stream sometime, she will. The door is open. Thank you for attending my stream. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll be back Friday. Yeah, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Brittany Simon. Okay. Goodbye, horses.